me on Thursdays, the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Andrew Marsh back. How you feeling, buddy? Doing all right?
I feel good.
Ooh, that didn't sound good.
That didn't sound
I
very
feel
positive.
better.
Feel better.
Feel better.
Okay.
Key. So much for starting off on the right foot here, huh?
So much for let's get nasty.
Yeah.
Let's get better.
Let's get grumpy.
Yeah. No.
What?
He's fine. I understand where you're coming from, Marsh. You're like, hey, man, you feel like crap for a day.
Yeah.
You battle through. You're back. You're not 100%. You're probably more like, what, 50? 55%?
I'd say 65.
Okay, well,
65,
good.
70.
Nice.
Way better than I
Excellent.
thought he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're good.
Jamie here as well, and we've got Kerry Davis, who's on vacation for the next couple of days. So
Lovely Puerto Rico.
Yeah, doing a little
Well,
traveling.
he's on his way there.
At least on his way there. That's right. Here's Katie Woo on the importance of settling before arbitration, or in arbitration, I guess before a hearing, with Ryan Helsley, which the Cardinals did today. Again, here's Katie Woo on the importance of the Cardinals settling with Helsley.
Well, one, I think it just makes more sense for everyone, right? The Cardinals, they really value Helsley as evidenced by their want to keep him, right? They're pretty disinclined to trade Helsley. It's been that way pretty much throughout the offseason. So it makes sense that they're able to find a number that makes sense. I think 8.2, given where Helsley was last year, right around 3.536. And given how his performance was in 2024, it's a pretty sizable raise, but it's well-deserved. It lets the Cardinals know because they have so much uncertainty regarding the payroll and Nolan Arenado. At least they have what I consider a pivotal player's salary locked up, and they don't have to worry about it. That's also huge for Helsley. You guys remember in 2023, the Cardinals took him to trial, and he was so candid about how that was really just an unenjoyable experience for him and how it did negatively impact him to start the season. And we all remember how the Cardinals started 2023 not great. It was actually such a bad experience for Helsley that he switched agencies at the end of the 2023 season. So it's important for the player. They obviously want to get the most that they can out of Helsley. Mo wants to field a competitive club. He said it. He believes Helsley is a key part to that. Right here, they just lock it up. They give Helsley nothing to question about heading into 2025, and they can pivot their efforts elsewhere.
Again, that's Katie Woo, who covers the Cardinals for The Athletic. Here's what we know. Cardinals and Ryan Helsley agreed to an $8.2 million agreement today to avoid arbitration. Jojo Romero, John King, nothing on them yet. Lars Nootbaar, they did not reach an agreement with Lars. They're going to still exchange some figures, according to Katie. Brendan Donovan, nothing on Brendan Donovan. And then Andre Palante, again, did not reach an agreement. Same thing with Lars. They're still going to talk leading up to arbitration.
Talk until their actual case, right?
Yes. So they kept Ryan Helsley in place. From Helsley's standpoint, fantastic. He deserved it. He earned the raise. They avoided smart on the Cardinals. There's nothing to be gained, in my opinion, from going to arbitration with the man that just won the Trevor Hoffman relief pitcher of the year. Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to go into the arbitration and say, you know what, we didn't make the playoffs because of Helsley. Don't go the Brewers route with Corbin Burns. It doesn't make sense. So they give him a raise, well earned. The story here, though, is what are the Cardinals going to do with Helsley? I imagine he is going to be a Cardinal at the start of the year. Is he still a Cardinal beyond the trade deadline? That's the story with Ryan Helsley, and obviously we won't know the answer to that before the trade deadline.
I just don't see any world where it makes any sense to keep him past the trade deadline. I just don't. Unless we're all completely wrong, and unless the Cardinals are like first or second in the division, and it looks like they're going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Who knows? I mean, the Brewers always seem to put together a group of players that somehow make the playoffs. Why can't the Cardinals? Like, it's going to be a mishmash of guys, right? Youth movement, except for Arenado and Contreras.
Because we can't move them.
Because we can't move Michaelis, that guy. But who knows? So if it goes the way we expect it to be, where they're not really in contention for the division or playoff spot, then Helsley's going to be moved on. Mm-hmm. They'll get probably a pretty sizable return for him because it'll be a team that is a contender that wants to have a guy at the back of the bullpen that just ends games for them. Yeah. And so you get a pretty good return from that. And now if they're playoff bound, then you got some decisions to make.
Right.
Either way, it's a win-win, in my opinion.
Do you see any sort of scenario in which the Cardinals pay Ryan Helsley? Because I don't.
Oh, they'll screw it up for sure.
Screw it up in which way?
I don't know. They'll give him like a 4-year deal or 8-year deal, $400 million.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So your answer is no too.
No, I don't think so.
I'm seeing figures of like $100 million next year when he hits free agency.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to do a little more research on it. I don't think the Cardinals are going to pay him that. That's
Exactly.
for damn sure.
Exactly. Somebody likely will. If he stays healthy again, he does what he did this past season, or at least something close. But I don't see a scenario in which the Cardinals pay him.
Well, the Cardinals are trying to shave payroll everywhere. They asked Fredberg to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
And you think they're going to pay Helsley?
No.
Come on.
So he'll likely be someplace else. I think he's going to be trade fodder if he makes it there. I mean, that's the thing. You're rolling the dice. If you don't trade him now, and maybe they will. Maybe they do decide. Some teams the Phillies come a calling with a pretty good.
Oh, now that they know what Helsley's making.
Exactly. Pretty good package of prospects, and say here you go.
Yeah, but Helsley's slated to be at the winter warm-up. You can't trade him.
That damn winter warm-up. There's always storylines there with the winter warm-up. Player's not there or player is there. It's like, all right, he's going to be a Cardinal for life now. Yeah. All right, again, if you're just joining us, Ryan Helsley, $8.2 million agreement today with the Cardinals to avoid arbitration. They did not settle with Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan, Andre Palante, John King, or Jojo Romero. That doesn't mean that they won't. It's just that for now, the two sides are still exchanging figures, according to Katie Wu and Derek Gould at the Post-Dispatch, with Palante and Nootbaar, respectively. So that's the current deal with Ryan Helsley and the arbitration situation. The whole arbitration thing. What's up?
We
just read something.
We forgot about this scenario, too. And Grant Francis Fan Club reminding all of us here in the Fast Lane that here's what they'll do. They'll waste him until he loses all of his value. Then they'll try to sell him.
We call that the Dylan Carlson. Or name another.
Just take your pick.
Yeah. Tyler O'Neill, for that matter. Yeah. Yep. That's probably the most likely scenario.
Yep.
The Snake Pit is alive and well. Shout out to the Snake Pit. I saw that Jason was already giving me crap for my Illini, my Penn State pick last night, and bet the board.
Oh, yeah.
Penn State won 4 straight against the Illini. Took the 9.5. Didn't work out well. Illini blew them out. It's nothing personal.
No, it's never personal.
It's never personal. It's always business. But Jason, calling me out right away. Fair enough. I deserve it. Illinois, as my good friend Jamie Rivers would say, Penn State finished 3rd last night against the Illini. So congratulations to the Illini for doing their thing.
I hit my bet the board, too.
Did you?
Matthew Tkachuk with an assist on Sam Reinhart's power play goal.
Nice. Did Carey it is?
What did he have in some obscure basketball?
Some basketball game.
Yeah.
Bradford picked for our guy Marsh. I don't remember what he picked, though. I'm sure it was fine. I'm sure it was a winner, Marsh. Nothing for you to worry about.
No, you're fine, Marshy.
I mean, we already established that I don't win, more than 2 months in a row.
Yeah.
So
you want to make sure that once Marsh wins a month, then that's when you hop on board.
And the 2 already happened. So this month it probably won't go my way.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it won't next month or the following month or maybe 6 months from now.
You're the Blues.
Whoa.
You win games. You win months.
But not 3 in a row.
Wow. Yeah. Right? No?
That's
Anybody?
That's tough, Anthony.
Okay.
How are you going to let this happen,
It's uncalled
Jamie?
for. I just ignore it, quite honestly. I just look at him, nod my head, and just don't listen.
Fair.
Yeah. I've been doing it for years. Come on.
Yeah. I always know when Jamie stopped paying attention.
What?
2:11, your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Appreciate everybody joining us today. Can the Blues rediscover that grit against the Anaheim Ducks?
You've lost that gritty feeling.
That's Jamie Rivers. More tunes like that coming up next here on 101 ESPN.
Can't wait.
Blues Ducks tonight pregame starting right here on 101 ESPN at 6 o'clock. And we'll also have the puck drop at 7 o'clock on the Blues Radio Network. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter. Blues Ducks tonight, boys. Why don't we hear from Jim Montgomery first and whether or not his team will be prepared? I imagine he'll say yes, Jamie.
Everybody has cabin fever from being snowed in here for 3 or 4 days with the ice storm, and the Blues are going to be ready to rock tonight. My ask for our fans tonight is be ready to rock from the puck drop. Faksa is going to be ready to rock from the puck drop.
Who else is ready to rock?
I would think Cam Fowler will be ready to go. 900 games for Brendan Saad as well. So there are a lot of milestones here, but most importantly, our group, we need to assert ourselves here. We got 5 games in a row before we go back on the road, and we need to start off on the right foot. I was ready to rock at 5:30 this morning having coffee.
All right, you got to love Monty.
Fired up.
You got to love that. I mean, his energy is infectious to all those guys around the rink. And I mean, even for fans, you hear that. You're like, hey, coach is fired up,
I'll be there.
But he's right. This is a series of 5 games here where you got a good homestand. And one thing that Monty has said since he got here is our home record has to be much better. Sure. We have to win on home ice. It can't be fun to come into the Enterprise Center and play the Blues. And he's been trying to build that from the moment he's taken over as head coach. The problem is he's only had a couple of games on home ice.
Seriously.
As the head coach. Most of it has been on the road. So now with the stretch of 5 games, I think the overall feeling is that it's time to do some damage. I said yesterday over the next 4 games, I said, the next 4 games, I need this team to be 4-0. If you go 5-0, I'll take that too. Of course. But if you can go 4-1, let's say, that is what we're talking about. That's putting games together. So even if you win 2, lose 1, win 2, you're still 4-1 in that stretch. You've got something going here, especially on home ice. And that's what you need to do. You need to start establishing your presence here on home ice, and you have to start getting points in bunches. Can't just be 2 points here, 2 points here. You got to get 4, 6 points before you lose. 4 points, loss. 6 points, loss. That's how you start to reel in the other teams in the conference for playoff spots, and that's how you distance yourself from the muddy waters that are from 3 to 7 right now in the conference.
Yeah, they're 8-9-1 at home this season. 8-9-1. This game tonight against the Ducks starts a stretch of 13 of 17 games on home ice for the Blues. This is a very important stretch now. The schedule has been wonky, to say the least. More road games than anybody else in the league. Right, Jamie? You were telling me that yesterday.
I think, or they're tied with Carolina or something like that, but they're definitely right at the top.
You've been on the road consistently, long stretches. Then you've had weird situations where you come home for a game and then go right back out. So even the home games have almost been pit stops as opposed to feeling like you're going to be on a bit of a stretch. So this is an important stretch of games here for the Blues, 13 of 17. They're coming off the 6-4 loss to Columbus. They're converting just 18.1% of their power plays, as ranks 25th in the NHL through Tuesday night's games. They're killing 72.3% of the penalties, which ranks 27th. You want to start somewhere? Start on home ice and start on special teams, Jamie.
Yeah, it's a big difference maker, man. If you can score a goal a game on the power play, so it's just simple math here, real easy to follow along. If you're a team that scores 2.5 goals a game, if you're the Blues, 2.5, let's say, that's what you score per game. But your record is astronomical every time you score 3 goals a game. Because the Blues right now this season, when they score 3 goals a game, their record's fantastic because their defense and the goaltending has been good.
Yeah.
Take away the last couple of games, bit of a free-for-all there, but overall, that's kind of the way it is. So if you're scoring 2.5 goals a game, but you can score 1 goal a game on the power play, you go to 3.5 goals a game. And 3 is your threshold. So that means the odds are in your favor that you're winning probably 85% of your games.
Yeah.
That's how much special teams can make a difference.
So you're tipping the scales back in your favor.
Yeah.
And you're doing it in a way that, as we know, over time, if you win special teams wise, if you win if you win on the power play and obviously you're killing penalties consistently, you're going to be a playoff team. So it all kind of comes together in this nice little neat package. Is there any changes that need to be made from a special team standpoint?
Look, I have maybe a different view of what this power play should look like. Played on a lot of power plays in my time. Watched an incredible group of power plays in my career operate. I'd like to see more movement. Sometimes for me, the Blues become very happy of they're happy to stick handle the puck and pass it around without the opposition really getting in the way, which is fine because they're passing it around on the outside, though.
Yeah, which the opposition is more than happy to go for it.
Pass it around.
Why don't you go ahead and pass it for 2 minutes?
2 minutes, yeah. And then when you shoot from outside, we're going to outnumber you in the inside because you've got 3 guys on the outside. We've got 4 guys on the inside. You only have 2. So every rebound now becomes a puck battle, which you're outnumbered. So then the opposition can get the clear. So for an effective power play, it's lots of movement. And for me, it's spreading it out a little bit, forcing the opposition to come out of that shrinking little diamond. They've got to stretch out a little bit to get in the shot lane, to take away a pass. And that's when you can float somebody into the middle of it and use that bumper play, whether for a one-timer or even just a scramble, where he gets a puck and makes a pass to somebody else. That, for me, is what I'd like to see more of, is more movement, and then establish the shot, too. Like Jake Neighbors in front is one thing. He's doing a great job, but the problem for Jake Neighbors, and I talked about this the other day, is he should be rewarded for being in front of that net. And all that means is you're shooting the puck. It gives him an opportunity to score a goal being a net front presence. Or it gives your team an opportunity to score a goal with him being there taking a beating in front. What happens to net front presence and what happens to teams who lose that net front presence is the guy who's there gets tired of it. Standing there the whole time taking a beating and nobody's shooting the puck. So then what happens is they pop out to be an option because I'd like to touch the puck. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get open over here. You'll pass me the puck over here. Now you have 0 presence in front of the net.
Sure.
And that's a dream come true for penalty kill. Thank you very much. The defenseman stands in front. He doesn't have to do anything. Just stand there. So for me, keep that net front presence. Move the puck quickly. Pull the coverage out. Quit trying to just put it in the middle of the ice. Like sometimes they put it in the middle of the ice too soon in the power play. That pass to the middle has to be wide open for you, or you have to tire out the opposition a little bit. That's why you move the puck around on a power play. You get guys to go stop, start to get tired. After 25, 30 seconds, you're tired. Mm-hmm. What do you do when you're tired? You make a mistake. Or you don't get to the spot where you're supposed to get to fast enough. And that's when you pounce with your power play move. So that for me, but that's just me.
Yeah.
That's one single way of looking at it. They've got, Jim Montgomery's a power play guy, too. He knows what he's doing. Steve Ott's been running a pretty good power play. Like, these guys know. I'm not trying to tell them how to do it. Mm-hmm. This, for me, that's my flavor, though, is I like to run a power play that way.
The power play almost, it almost feels like an offensive line where if the guys are in sync with each other, if there's cohesion there, if they know some of the nonverbals, right? Like you're taught a certain
remember
way.
Craig Berube used to say, be predictable?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody on the power play unit should know what the goal is here. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, oh, my God, I'm going to go rogue. And then what happens is, and you'll see it happen sometimes, not so much lately, but earlier on with the Blues, you'd have guys take the puck and skate into another guy. Like, not literally into him, but like, let's say Jordan Kyrou would take the puck up the wall and skate right towards the defenseman at the top of the blue line. Well, that's easy. Now, as a penalty killer, one guy can cover 2.
Right.
Because as soon as, I know this from playing on the penalty kill, as soon as 2 players got into the same area and one of them had the puck, I bull rushed him. Stick on puck, body through everything at that point. Yeah, because if you knock one guy or both guys down, whatever, one guy, have taken out 2 guys. Mission accomplished. Right. This is why you don't skate into coverage. It's why you spread it out.
Sure.
Why? Because now I've got to skate to you. Mm-hmm. Don't make my job easy.
Well, my offensive line comparison is almost like, if you're a guard and you've got a tackle and they're doing something to, whether they run a stunt or something like that, you almost have to have those nonverbals. I know what the guy's going to do next to me, mm-hmm. and I know what my job is going to be. So if the nonverbals are there, like what you're saying in terms of spreading everything out, making sure you have somebody in that bumper position, great. But if the nonverbals aren't there because you're not a cohesive unit, then it's not going to matter. Do you feel that way too? Like when you have observed power plays in the past, it's almost like all 5 guys are working in unison.
Yeah.
The nonverbals are there. He's going that way. I know now what I have to do to get in scoring position or to perhaps take somebody else out so that one of my teammates is open. It's all the nonverbal cues.
Yeah, a lot of nonverbal cues, and also I'll compare it loosely to this, and I'll try my best to marry it, but it's like a quarterback. There's pre-snap, what he's seeing for coverage, and then post-snap, what happens, right? So pre-power play, you're looking at the video, you're doing all your research. That's great. You have an idea. Now, puck drops, you're in the moment on the power play. Now you either see the same thing, or if they've changed it, you have to have already come up with a solution for that. And so your check downs would be, okay, I go up high to the point. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is down low to neighbors. Option number 3 is in the bumper spot. So now everybody knows if I'm Robert Thomas, I have 3 distinct things I can do, or we have play number 1, play number 2, play number 3. And one of them will present itself. And now everybody's got to know. And that's just called preparation. So it's essentially a lot of like running an offense, because that's what it is. A power play is offense.
Yeah, you get your quarterback.
You get your quarterback with power play or with the puck, and it's up to that guy. You know, we used to play with the Red Wings. These guys would call out to plays. Play 1, like basketball. Okay, they'd zip it around 5, 6, 7, 8 passes back of the net. I'm like, okay. But now there were like 5 Hall of Famers on that power play.
Right.
You know, it's fun to watch. Yeah. But I think too, you know, just simplifying it, getting as many pucks to the net as he possibly can, and getting those bodies down there.
That's Jamie Rivers, Intramarsh here as well. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's Fastlane on 101 at ESPN. Tonight we've got the first of 2 semifinal games in college football. Notre Dame, Penn State. Is there an edge when Vegas is telling you this is a pick-em matchup? We'll dive into it next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are back in action tonight, taking on the Anaheim Ducks. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. We'll talk with Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues, right here on the Blues Radio Network at 3:15, so stay tuned for that. Also tonight, the college football playoff semifinal, game number 1 between Penn State and Notre Dame. They're playing at the Capital One Orange Bowl. It should be a good game. We're going to dive into that next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Tonight you got the semifinal matchup between Penn State and Notre Dame at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, and I think that this game is going to be fantastic. I think if you like, we'll call it old school football, this is your matchup. This is something that, this is a game that could come down to the wire, should come down to the wire. I highly doubt it's going to be one of those games that's going to have fireworks, shootout back and forth. I think this is going to be a bit of a defensive struggle, Jamie. I don't think there's a decided matchup or a decided angle to give either team that significant edge. Notre Dame, big, powerful. Their offensive line didn't generate much of a push from a running game standpoint against Georgia. Yet it didn't lose against perhaps the best defensive line in the nation in Georgia. Notre Dame has also destroyed every team they've faced outside of Louisville. They won by 7. And Northern Illinois, which shocked them week 2 in South Bend. Other than that, double-digit wins against everybody on their schedule. Indiana, double-digit win. They beat Georgia, obviously, by 10 last week. And I didn't feel at any point from midway through the second quarter on that Georgia was truly going to come back in that football game. Like, the score was somewhat close, but I never felt that Notre Dame didn't have control of the game. And then they did what they needed to do, some clever coaching on that 4th and 1 where they, initially they had the punt team out, then shuffled everybody off, then came back on, and, they wound up getting a first down off of that. I think from a coaching standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, offensive line standpoint, Notre Dame's kind of locked and loaded. But Penn State, what can you say about them? They ran through SMU, Boise State, Ashton Genty, no problem. Penn State has passed most of its tests too.
Yeah, but I will say this. To me, Notre Dame has had the tougher path. Penn State, okay, so they went through SMU. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what? Right.
Okay, good. They went through Boise. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Like, come on. I know Ashton Genty. Oh, they handled him. Okay, great. One player. That's all you had to worry about. Literally. That's all you had to worry about.
Yeah.
Pretty easy game plan. See that guy? Don't let him run. Okay. So Notre Dame on the flip side of it, although Georgia didn't have their starter, still had to worry about a Georgia football team that most of those guys are NFL caliber players.
Right.
So I think this game, for me, I think it's a double-digit win for Notre Dame.
Oh, really?
I do. I think they win by 10 points.
See, I think Notre Dame wins this game, too. I don't know, double-digit. That's interesting. You're very confident.
I think Notre Dame, I've been thinking about it, but after they beat Georgia and do a little bit of a deep dive and whatnot, I think they're going to be the national champions this year. I think they're the best team left. I know Ohio State, they got that flashy offense. I'm not convinced Ohio State gets past Texas, to be honest.
Oh, I do.
I know everybody's leaning that way. I get it. We'll see, okay? But I think Notre Dame, for me, I think Notre Dame is the most complete team.
I love the fact, too. I mean, they heavily recruit this area. Jeremiah Love is a St. Louis kid. Mm-hmm. He's going to play tonight. He's good to go. He kind of dealt with the illness against Indiana, and he had that 97-yard touchdown run, which was really it for Notre Dame's offense in that game. They've really been led by their defense, but Notre Dame highly recruits this area. Kyron Williams, obviously the Rams now, also a St. Louis kid. I think they got one other back that's from St. Louis, or a corner too. But Notre Dame, to me, I like how you phrase that. They're the most complete team left. I liked Riley Leonard going back to Duke. I thought the kid had some big play potential, but he was more of a runner. This year, maybe not in the playoffs, but this year he's shown his chops a little bit more from a passing standpoint. But I think when all the chips are down, that kid can run out of trouble. And I think that's going to be one of the key differences tonight compared to Drew Aller, who's had an outstanding year as well. But if I'm leaning one way or the other, I like Notre Dame's defense a little bit better, even though Penn State creates havoc. I like Notre Dame's defense a little bit better, and I love that O-line for Notre Dame.
And let's just be honest, Penn State's head coach can't win a big game.
James Franklin's won 2 big games already, but
no, not big enough.
Not big enough for Jamie. Yeah, there is that component to it, though, right? I mean, if I would be lying if I didn't say that I thought that was going to be a factor for Ryan Day. Like, oh, can't beat Michigan coming in. Okay, we'll see how he does against Tennessee. Blew him out.
That way, yeah.
Oregon blew him out. I mean, Ohio State has looked, I think, like the most impressive team in this college football playoff. I think they're going to be fine against Texas. I really do.
We'll see.
I think Ohio State's defense is going to give Texas all kinds of problems.
All right, Anthony, we'll see, okay?
Oh, whoa, okay.
Got your opinion, and you just keep trying to convince me.
I'm not trying to convince you.
It's a little bit, yeah. No, I'm good.
I was a little surprised.
It's America.
I was a little
I'm entitled
surprised
to my pick.
that you said, Texas is going to give them a game.
They are.
All right. Marsh, where are you on this? How about tonight's game?
Yeah, I think, man, I really don't know. I really like the way that Penn State's been playing. But, Jamie, you bring up a hell of a point. He can't win the big game. Now, I get it. Like, going back to the first game, like they've all been big games. So maybe this is a different year. I don't know. I completely disagree with you, Jamie, on the Ohio State take. I think Ohio State is going to blow through Texas.
Well, you can go blank yourself, too.
Okay. But as far as tonight,
how bad did you want to use one of the words that Marsh just used?
Pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Marsh.
I think Penn State gets the job done. I really do. Maybe this is the year.
Oh, gosh.
I think they win.
Either way, it's going to be historic. Like, whoever wins it, it's going to be somewhat historic. I know Ohio State has won fairly recently, but it's been a long time coming for Notre Dame. Obviously, for Penn State, it's been a long time. And Texas, it's been a hot minute for Texas, too. So either way, it's going to be a historic winner.
And I think this is at least what I wanted. I don't know if other people wanted this. Obviously, some people are fans of the teams that have been eliminated already. But for me, I want to see new teams every year. So to see that these 4 teams are, for the most part, different. Ohio State's obviously, been there and done that, within at least the last decade or so. But these other teams, like you just mentioned, they really haven't been a part of this conversation for quite some time. So it is exciting to see that. And that from the 12-team playoff, that is what I like about it.
Yeah, you're not getting Alabama. Right. You're not getting Clemson when Clemson was going seemingly every year. You are getting a shakeup. On that note, I was actually thinking about that. With all these extended games, like Penn State, whether they win tonight or not, Penn State played they played a lot of games this year. Yeah. I wonder if we see a little bit of a hangover in college football like we do in the NFL, where you play extra games each year, you have a shorter offseason to prepare,
see that. Yep.
And it winds up being a situation where we do get new-ish teams every year,
I think the only difference would be is that there are, and obviously there's free agency and whatnot, but you do have the transfer portal. So new people will be coming in, freshmen will be coming in. So those guys would be ready to go. They wouldn't have that type of
a little
hangover.
different, obviously, than
a little
NFL.
different.
Yeah, but I think in all
I understand what you're saying.
Your
though.
top skill positions are probably veteran players,
right.
Unless they're seniors and they're out of there.
But I even wonder with like NIL, if some of these players, we see like Drew Aller, he's going to stay at Penn State for another year. And even with some of these NIL deals, they're like, you know what, I'll stay another year. Kind of like it in college, and I'm getting paid.
Who wouldn't?
All these extra games for some of these teams, it creates even more parity a year from now. And we've got parity. We had parity more than ever in college football this year. And I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, I loved it.
Yeah. So I think we're going to get that from here on out. Now, will we see better games? That's the question, because these playoff games have not been good, unfortunately.
Why are you so critical?
Well,
you're the one that floated it out there.
I love it. I love
2
the
years
playoff.
ago.
I love the
You're
field.
I don't care if they're bloodbaths. It's playoff football.
Yeah.
And now you're like, well,
I'm just I'm speaking freely.
yeah, but
Somebody told me a couple minutes ago this is America.
it is. And you're entitled to your opinion
Thank you, Jamie.
until I don't like it.
Now that's America.
That is the American way.
Wait, you and I disagree? You're an idiot. You should stop talking. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We're going to do NFL 4 downs next. on ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, and it's time for NFL 4 Downs with our guy Andrew Marsh. What do you got for us, Marshy?
First down.
All right, gentlemen. Obviously, the wildfires, they continue to loom over the Vikings and Rams game for Monday Night Football. I guess it'll be the last Monday Night Football. That's sad. Very sad. But what do you think happens if they got to play this game in Phoenix?
Yeah.
How does that affect you as a player if you're an LA Ram?
Yeah, I don't think it affects the Rams too much because most of the crowds they get at their building are for the other team anyways.
Seriously.
I mean, I'm not even being...
No, I'm with you. They don't have home field advantage.
They don't really have home field advantage. Yeah, I don't think it affects anything. Both teams play in a dome. Arizona's a dome. So it's not like one team's an outdoor team and it's going to be different.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters. I don't. Like if you're wanting to play in the Super Bowl at some point anyway, you got to play at a neutral site game.
Rams play there once a year. You know, they go to Arizona once a year. The Vikings still have to go to West Coast. It's still going to be a road game no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
No.
If they have to do it.
I think they should just come back to St. Louis and play at the Dome.
We got new turf.
They'd get new turf. How funny would that be?
No, it would not be funny.
That would not be a home game.
I don't think people go.
No, I think they would.
No?
Everybody would be rooting for the Vikings.
Okay, you know what? I didn't see that. I didn't see that angle.
That's a good call.
That's a very good comment. Although I feel like there'd be a lot of people be boycotting the game on purpose. Don't let the NFL make their money here.
Yeah. They're going to make their money anywhere. Yeah, I know. But I understand the mindset of it. Yeah.
Come on. People in St. Louis are very proud people.
Absolutely.
And most of them would probably not want to go to the game.
I don't know. I think they'd show up just to root against the Rams. And then you'd have your few people that are still Rams fans. T-Bone's still a Rams fan.
Got one guy.
No, there's two. Doty likes the Rams, too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Doty, he came into our pre-show meeting.
Yeah.
He's a little mad at you.
Yeah, he was mad at me. I don't even remember saying...
I didn't remember it either, but...
he was like, yeah.
Maybe it's what he heard.
He's like, you're downplaying the Rams.
Yeah, you said you were going to pick the Vikings.
Then he's like, we almost beat the Lions in week 1. Like, okay. I love Doty.
He's great. But, to summarize, I don't think it's a big deal.
I don't think it's a big deal.
No.
I'm with you.
Second down.
Anthony, you've said multiple times on this show that you think Steve Spagnuolo, great defensive coordinator, probably shouldn't be a head coach anymore.
Yeah.
So the Jets have put in a request to interview Spags, the Chiefs defensive coordinator, for their head coach vacancy. The Post confirmed. The New York Post, that is. Thoughts on that?
I think the Bears did, too. The Bears requested to talk to him as well.
Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you?
Talk to him. Who cares?
If I'm Spags, and look, if you want to be a head coach again, go be a head coach again. But how sweet of a deal is that in Kansas City? You're making good money for an assistant coach. You have an opportunity to win. I don't know.
Like, I was trying to think about that.
I don't know what a top assistant makes.
Because I know that Bill
Probably a couple
Belichick
mil.
basically paid his guys like nothing as assistant coaches initially. Now, as they grow within the organization, but I just don't know what the market is for an assistant coach.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. But you have a chance to win a Super Bowl every year. You know that defense. You know that team well. You work with Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid probably gives him full autonomy to do his thing.
Of course he does.
He's not worrying about, micromanaging stuff. You don't have to deal with the media in terms of, you have to talk to the media, but not like a head coach does.
Not nearly.
You
as
don't have to
much.
worry about the contract situation for guys and all that stuff. You're just call plays. I think Cliff Kingsbury's got a pretty sweet deal, too, being just a play caller in Washington. I know his name's been bantied about again as a head coach. Do you want to go that route? Just be a coordinator. Be one of the top coordinators.
Yeah, for me, I wonder with Spags if he's learned. Because when he was here, that was not great.
No, it wasn't. He made a lot of mistakes.
He made a lot of mistakes, but he's obviously an intelligent guy. Probably would have learned, and then certainly being part of Andy Reid's staff, you learn from a guy like Andy Reid that bring in the best guys you possibly can, and if you lose them to head coaching jobs, who cares?
So be it.
Find another guy,
Yeah.
Maybe he'd do it different.
I do think that if you're the Jets, you're the Bears, you're the Saints, you're one of these teams and you're interested in Ben Johnson or you're interested in one of these hot coordinators, find somebody that can be an assistant head coach. You need Ben Johnson stepping in. He has no idea what it's like to be a head coach. I think these teams make too many mistakes saying, you're the guy now, it's all you, save us.
Yeah.
And then these guys get in over their heads because they don't know what they're doing and they just kind of want to call plays or be on their side of the ball. I think you should have somebody, assistant head coach, somebody that's been in the league for a long time, somebody that is fine with just being the assistant and that can mentor that guy along the way.
Yeah.
That I think would be beneficial.
I think for me, if you're the team like the Jets and the Bears, those two teams in particular right now, there could be others, lots of vacancies right now. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but those two teams in particular.
Raiders.
The Raiders, but I don't know. Yeah. But the Jets and the Bears, I think Ben Johnson is the pick. Mm-hmm. You've got Caleb Williams. You got a good quarterback for the Bears. He's got some weapons, too, on the offensive side. I guarantee Ben Johnson can do something with that team from an offensive standpoint.
Sure.
And with the Jets, they don't have any offense. Like, you're going to move on from Aaron Rodgers. You have to, in my opinion. For the Jets, you're like, hey, man, high five, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And then you got to go find, your version of Sam Darnold or somehow find a young quarterback or whatever. But
wouldn't that be something if he goes back?
Darnold?
Yeah. I'm back. I doubt it.
I doubt it, but it's a possibility. Who knows?
Mm. Yeah, it's a mess. Raiders and Jets.
Third down.
It's a mess.
Gentlemen, coaches have been fired. GMs have been fired. And Shad Khan, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, may have already accidentally, who knows, threatened to fire his GM, Trent Baalke, on a Zoom call the other day. Let's take a listen to that, and then we'll react to it.
I'd actually like to go back to John's first question, Shad, back to you. I know you noted that if this head coaching candidate was to say, hey, I think the medical needs to be reevaluated, the health and wellness, if they were to say, I would like to reevaluate the front office and the general manager, what would your response be?
My response would be, how would you improve it? And then if it is credible, you want to do it, okay?
Here's the thing. The GM was on the Zoom meeting with him.
So Trent Baalke was on the Zoom meeting with him when Shad Khan answered the question and basically said, yeah, how would you improve it? Sounds good. Go ahead. Get rid of him. Trent Baalke was also on that call. But hey, I would imagine that regardless of if Trent Baalke was on that call or not, and Shad Khan says it, but it's going to get back to Baalke anyways.
But here's the thing. I love that Shad Khan was so honest. Mm-hmm. A couple things. He hasn't made all the right decisions from a football standpoint. But one thing about Shad Khan is, like, when he talks, like, he's pretty honest about things. And, he is very disappointed because he was on record saying that they had assembled what he believed to be the best football team under his watch this year. And they certainly didn't play like that. No. So there's nobody should feel safe. Nobody. And if, let's say he goes out there and it's Ben Johnson. Say Ben Johnson says, hey, Trevor Lawrence, I can do miracles with this kid, right? I'm going to go to Jacksonville. However, I don't want this GM. This guy doesn't know anything. He doesn't have the same vision as me. If you're Shad Khan, you go, okay, maybe the hottest young coach on the market right now. We're going to build with this guy. Go to your GM. Hey, man, sorry. Take care.
Right.
Like, you have to start winning football games. Mm-hmm. And if your GM is the one that's standing in the way of that because of certain decisions, you got to go, man.
Yeah, one of the reasons why Jim Harbaugh left San Francisco was because of Trent Baalke. They couldn't get along. And a little bit of friction is good, but if your GM and your head coach aren't on the same page, how long do you think that's going to last?
You can't have friction right now. If you're Jacksonville, it's just been an absolute dumpster fire there. You can't have friction. You've got to have a unified front office, coaching staff, players, ownership. Like, that's the only way you pull yourself out of the gutter here.
Fourth down.
Guys, on Tuesday, a source told Adam Schefter that the Dallas Cowboys denied permission to the Chicago Bears to interview Mike McCarthy. Now, the Cowboys won 7 games this year. Do you think McCarthy deserves a little bit more recognition for winning 7 games with the roster that he had?
No. Think about the names that he had.
Part of that roster was the pride of Central Michigan. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know what your deal is. I don't know why you're saying it the way you are. He had Cooper Rush, okay? A lot of people can win 7 games with Coop. Jamie, you're saying?
I just was saying that, no, I don't think so. Like, I think that team was actually, the roster was pretty good, apart from the running game. You might want to go get a running back.
So the running back and the quarterback.
No, but even Dak, he got hurt and whatnot, and then you're on to, pride of Central Michigan. But
Thank you.
on a normal year, Dak Prescott's fine. Like, you should be, that division, they should have been right at the top of the division, in my opinion. Now, the Commanders were a huge surprise, and the Eagles were not, but still, I think that team's better than what it's performed.
Well, if Dak's healthy, though, they probably win more than 7 games.
I would think so. They weren't trending that way.
Right.
But you would think so. Here's the thing with McCarthy. Under Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott has been the best version of himself. Like, Dak got paid again. Why? Because Mike McCarthy went in there, and there was a lot of things that Mike McCarthy did well with Dak. Let's not forget, that was a shocking display when the Green Bay Packers went in there last year and destroyed them.
Oh, boy.
I mean, the Cowboys were favored. They're at home. They had this big season, and we could talk about the failures of the Cowboys in the postseason. Marsh, I know you love that.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is Dak Prescott has played very well under McCarthy. I think you could do a lot worse than McCarthy. Now, could you do better than him? Maybe not with the candidates right now. So the Cowboys are just going to kind of wait this thing out.
Yeah. Anthony, text line, the 636 says that Shad Khan sounds very different on that Zoom.
Really?
Remember your version of Shad Khan?
But for a second, I was like,
I completely forgot about that.
that was shot guy.
Yeah, did we play the wrong thing? I completely forgot about that.
That's
When
why
I did like
started
the
laughing.
southern accent or something.
You did like, there, Bobby. You did that.
What the hell, Bobby?
You did that for Shad Khan. You're like, here's what I think Shad Khan.
I
Everyone's
like mixed up my Jerry Jones and Shad Khan for a second. Yeah.
And we all looked at you like, what?
Wait,
He's Southern?
Yeah. He's from Southern Illinois, so. That's right. I completely forgot
that's what
about
got
that.
me.
That's hilarious. That's a good poll from the text
That's a
line.
great
All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Has ownership diminished the Cardinals brand? Yeah. That's next on 101 ESPN. Before coming on the show today, I was looking at Underdog Fantasy. I love playing Underdog. You know, you can add players. You add your picks, right? So for the NFL playoffs coming up, I've been looking at Justin Herbert. I think it's going to be a heavy run game for the Chargers this week. So I'm choosing lower on Justin Herbert's passing yards, but then I'm going to go over the rushing yards for J.K. Dobbins. And when I go over to the other side of the ball there with the Texans, I'm going to go over receiving yards for Nico Collins. Whatever you want to build your underdog fantasy team, you can win up to 1,000 times your money just for choosing higher or lower on those player stats. It's not just the NFL either. You could do the NFL combined with the NBA. Maybe you got a hunch on somebody going off tonight in the Blues game. Great. You could do that, and then you can combine some NFL playoff players. However you want to build your team, it's completely up to you. But Underdog is the only champions platform that puts the power to cash out in your hands. You can either keep riding on your player, maybe you got one left to hit, and you're like, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to cash out and take the profits. Underdog gives you that opportunity. Underdog is the best place to play champions. Download the app, sign up with promo code Anthony, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Again, using promo code Anthony at Underdog Fantasy. Must be 18 or older, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Well, they certainly don't have to cut anything, as you and I both know, right? This is an ownership choice, and I do understand some of the rationale behind it. Yes, there will be a decline in ticket sales next year. They're preparing for that. Yes, they did lose 25% of their promised revenue from their restructured television deal. However, the choice to cut payroll is not a Mo choice. It's not an Ollie choice. It's a choice from ownership, and it remains to be seen just how far they're willing to take a pay cut.
That was Katie Wu from The Athletic, who joined BK and Ferrario earlier today. You can head to 101ESPN.com, check out the podcast, the Schaefer Door Company podcast, to listen to the entirety of that interview. Before we dive into Katie Wu's comments there and get into kind of the bigger discussion, the Cardinals have just announced within the last minute they have reached agreements on one-year contracts for the 2025 season, avoiding arbitration with Ryan Helsley, John King, and JoJo Romero. They have exchanged salary arbitration figures with Brendan Donovan, Lars Nootbaar, and Andre Palante. So the deals with Helsley, King, and Romero are all done. They avoid arbitration with those players. One-year deal, one-year contracts for all three. But Donovan, Nootbaar, Palante, it's still withstanding in terms of their arbitration status.
I wonder what the hang-up is there with those guys.
Money.
Yeah, but, like, what? It always...
There's always a cap, so...
Well, but it always, like, kind of interests me when you have players that are mid players. Like, they're good. They're not stars, okay? Like, what's the big deal here? Mm-hmm. How can the agent and the team not find a landing spot?
Yeah.
Like, how can you not?
Yeah, you're asking for 5. We're willing to give you 3. Let's settle at 4, and let's go.
Yeah, let's get close we can to 4.
Right.
One way or the other. Okay, good. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just don't get it. And I hold agents accountable for this as well, because the agents, obviously, they get paid a percentage of what the player makes.
Sure.
And so they're always pushing for more money. And there's also the ego side of it, too. Each agent wants to be, getting their client more and more and more. But that's not always the best thing for the client. And clearly, like Ryan Helsley went through, how about this? Ryan Helsley went through the arbitration process, hated it. Hated being told how terrible he is. Mm-hmm. Fired his agent after that. And this year doesn't want to go to arbitration.
Right.
So why doesn't the agent just learn a little bit from the player? Like, I had an agent to start my career, would be like the Scott Boras of the NHL. It was Don Meehan, Pat Morris, Newport Sports. They handled it, all the big dogs. Because coming into the league, it was like I was one of those guys.
Sure.
As my career went on, 5, 6, 7 years in, I wasn't that guy. So guess what? They stopped answering the phone pretty much for me.
Sure.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Like, they'd negotiate the contract or whatever, but stop. Like, I've told the story before. Chris Pronger and I had the same agent. I kept calling him, trying to get a hold of him. So one day I called, and the receptionist like, "Oh, yeah, can I tell him who's calling?" So, yeah, Chris Pronger. "Hey, Prongs." I go, "You son of a..." I'm like, really? So I fired him. Yeah. Then I moved on to my second agent, which was Matt Cater, who actually was on the scouting staff that drafted me here in St. Louis, and he had gone from being a scout to being an agent. And I called him. He had Zdeno Chara and some other guys that I knew. And I said, "Hey, Matt, he's like..." He goes, "Well, let me look at some things here." Like, he didn't say yes right away.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, "What?
Right.
You don't want me?" Like, I'm giving you money. Like, I'm up for contract here. But what he did was he evaluated, and it wasn't that he didn't want me, the player. He wanted to see what my specific market was, what the strategies were, and what good advice he could give me, so that he knew that I knew he was, like, on the same page as me. Yeah. So when he called me back and told me, I was like, geez, this guy's prepped, man. Mm-hmm. He already had certain teams targeted for, like, whatever, guys with injuries and things like that. I was like, you're my guy.
Yeah.
And he advised me perfectly for the rest of my career. Like, always avoid this. He's the guy I told you passed up a 3-year deal in Phoenix to go sign with the Red Wings because he thought that was the best deal for me. And it was. It ended up being, I got 3 more years in Detroit from that. But back to my original thought is, how do some of these agents not help their clients a little more? They got Brendan Donovan or some of these guys. Why go to arbitration? You sit down with Mo or Chaim Bloom and just say, guys, I'm not here to fight you.
Yeah.
Let's you want the player, clearly. Otherwise, you would get rid of him.
Right.
So you want the player. The player wants to be here. Where's our middle ground here?
Yeah, let's figure this out.
Let's go. And then you don't have to do this stupid arbitration thing where everybody gets their feelings hurt, which, by the way, the player doesn't have to sit in. You can just let the agent go. If you're that soft, like if you're that, like, sensitive, don't go to the meeting. I mean, what, you want to tell me how bad I am? I already know how bad I am. Okay.
Don't you think I know?
They're going because they're cheap.
Who, the Cardinals?
Yes.
Yeah, but some of these are.
But I think what Jamie's trying to say is,
yeah.
you know, there's also yes, full stop, and there's also the agents that are trying to hold the teams to the last
because the Cardinals
penny.
the Cardinals have already offered a dollar amount. Mm-hmm. So you already know like what their sort of landing spot is. Mm-hmm. So if you're the agent and the player wants to stay there and the player doesn't have an appetite for all this bull spit, then you go, okay, let's say it's $3.5 million for next year, and you're at $5 million. It's a big win. It's a big gap, right? You tell your player, hey, let's go back with $4 million. You know you're good. The team likes you. The next deal we get with these guys, we'll make it worth your while. And you tell Jose Locke that. Say, man, we're going to come in $500,000 more than what you're offering. You can handle that. We know you can. But let's remember this come the offseason.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, I'm just saying, I've been in those meetings.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm
all of these things.
I'm just saying the Cardinals are trying to cut payroll, so it wouldn't shock me if they're not.
But they already have a number on the table, Marshy. Like, if they were offering $0, that would be different. Now they're really, like...
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're already forfeiting whatever.
There's already a zone. There's always a land. There's already a landing zone because of the arbitration process. You can't go too high. You can't go too low.
So they're almost the parameters are really like set.
Yeah.
They're challenging the team and the player's agent to just find middle ground is what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. So we did not get into the Cardinals brand conversation, so we'll save that for maybe perhaps the second half of the show here. But we're going to talk to Chris Kerber. Kerber's going to join us next. We'll talk to him about tonight's Blues and Ducks matchup, and we'll get into some other Blues storylines next with the play-by-play voice of your St. Louis Blues, Chris Kerber.
Well, we were telling you about it all spring, all summer, and now we've gotten into the winter. Are you making it through this cold this week with your furnace working fine? Maybe you're starting to realize because it's gotten so cold outside that furnace needs to be tweaked. I need to make sure it's checked. Get a hold of the folks at Classic Air Care. You can book an appointment online at classicaircare.com. If it's during a weekend, don't worry about it. They've got a 24/7 hotline you can call. They will make sure that they get you up and running. The cold's going to stick around for a little bit, and we've got another band of snow, as you know, coming in. So they're out and about. They're getting from house to house, and they're taking care of your neighbors. Log on. Check out their 4.8 Google rating. That way you know you're going to be comfortable with the kind of service you're going to get, because those are testimonials directly from people that they're helping right now. So get online, check out their 4.8 Google rating, read the reviews, go ahead and book an appointment, make sure that furnace is up and running. Hey, and get on the docket now. Don't wait until it breaks. Make sure it's just maintained and ready to go. Classic Air Care. They've been making people comfortable since 1926.
Blues at home tonight to take on the Anaheim Ducks. The puck will drop at 7 o'clock, but we got the pregame for you right here on your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN at 6 o'clock. Joining us via the Thompson & Callyer phone line is our guy, Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues. Kerbs, how are you? Oh, no.
Well, he clearly doesn't like you, Anthony.
Well,
and I don't.
I get it. Sorry, Phil. I had to hit the mute button. I'm back.
I try to hit the mute button on Anthony myself, too, Kurt. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
No, listen, I didn't think you guys wanted to be here to get the attention of a puppy to make sure a new puppy doesn't pee on the floor. So we're good. We're good.
What kind of dog?
Yeah, now we got to ask.
Oh, we got we got a new Australian Shepherd puppy for the little ones.
Ooh.
Okay, now, Curbs, you do realize that those dogs have an extraordinary amount of energy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This one, listen, this is our fourth one. We've got them all from the same breeder. So they've been fantastic, actually. We love them. We still have the older one is now 7 or 8. Christy likes having 2 dogs. I needed a new dog like I need a hole in the head. But I was going to, as you guys know, sometimes
tell us how you really feel, Kurt.
Listen, I was honest with all them too. But you had to go in. So we went down, we picked the puppy, and she's been fantastic. So, but as you know, training is absolutely critical. Yeah, it was my daughter is carrying her back in, grinning ear to ear. Training is absolutely critical, and it's relentless. So, anyway, I apologize. I had you all on mute while I was waiting. No, don't go there.
No, you're fine, Curves. We Ashley and I got a puppy about a year ago. English cream golden retriever, great dog, but the puppy training is intense. And we had another dog. So we had 2 dogs, and if that wasn't enough, for Christmas we got Ashley's oldest son a cat because he likes cats, and I'm allergic to cats. Not this one.
No,
it's weird. I'm not allergic to this cat, and this cat now believes that it's a dog because it's been around the dogs. So when they go outside, it wants to go outside with them, comes back in, drinks out of the dog bowl. Like, it's not like your regular cat that goes and hides everywhere. It's really kind of weird.
See, that part's good. Now, shortly after my mom passed away, and there were still a lot of younger kids in the house, my dad caved. He was never a cat guy. There were never cats in the house. And they saw a sign that said free kittens. So they end up, Dad, I think he was coming back from the Ozarks or somewhere, and he ends up saying, okay, so they bring a cat home. This cat lived for like 18 years, right? They named it Clarence. And I was never much of a cat guy still. I'm not much of a cat guy. But one thing for sure, I guess Dad would listen to the games and put it through the computer on the radio in the early days of the internet, and the cat would just go sit next to the speaker. And then I would come home for my 1 week's vacation, And it was like the cat, as soon as I'd open a suitcase, the cat would lay in the suitcase. It would become the cat bed for a week. And I'm like, what's going on here? And even when the cat was too old, my sister Cindy had it over at their house. It would just kind of stay in the basement and never come up unless I came over. I'd start talking, and the cat would come to the top of the stairs. So I don't know. Maybe I had a spirit animal in this cat. But, yeah, I'm not much of a cat guy either. But you know what? Animals are animals, and you find your way with them. And the thing is you just don't. Here's what you do. You train a puppy, and then you call zero res to get everything out of the carpet that they leave behind.
They are the best.
That's what you do.
They are the best, for sure. Good call, Curbs. Speaking of animals, Coach Montgomery said that his team's going to be a bunch of animals out here tonight for this first home game on this homestand. What do you think?
Yeah, boy, he had some energy this morning, didn't he?
He sure
was,
did.
He was all fired up, and even the first question I asked him for our coaches show tonight, he said, I'm going to tell you what my ask of all the fans are. He goes, I want the fans coming and rocking. And he's clearly building an atmosphere and a culture that he wants to see. And you learned on this last road trip, because we had plenty of time on it, and the practice rink we were at, you could hear it was like he would have been mic'd anyway. It was such a small practice rink. But you get the sense that he really feels that this team is so close to breaking through whatever last roadblocks they have to becoming a really good team. And it feels to me like that last roadblock is consistency. And he's looking for it. And he actually thought that the team started well against Minnesota, just had a couple mistakes and fell behind, but were able to come back. But then again, it was the start of the third period that waned on him. So he's driving that point home. And I'll tell you something, guys, he really does believe this. He looks around, and he said this to me more than once. Because this is a good hockey team. We just got to get some habits in here the right way, but this is a really good hockey team. And so, I'm excited to see what he does there in the second half.
Curbs, have you had an opportunity to chat with Cam Fowler, who plays his former team tonight?
I did, and I asked him this morning, and this was fun. I said, hey, what do you remember about Game 1 with Anaheim? His very first game that he played with Anaheim. Turns out it was in Detroit at Joe Louis Arena. Now, he was born in Canada, but then his dad was transferred and moved to Michigan. So when he was 1 year of age is when he moved to Michigan and basically was there the rest of his life. So he grew up watching the Detroit Red Wings, was a fan of the Red Wings, and more importantly, he was a huge fan of Nicholas Lidstrom. So he says his very first game in the National Hockey League, they end up losing the game 4-0. He said, I don't remember much about the game other than realizing that I'm staring across the ice at all these players that I idolized growing up. And then, of course, seeing Nicholas Lidstrom over there was kind of amazing. And the other thing he said he remembered being nervous the entire game. He said the nerves never settled that entire game. So here it is, 3 games later, and a really cool moment for him. And by the way, kudos to the Blues and Alex Gilchrist of the Anaheim Ducks, who realized this opportunity was here and delayed his 1,000-game ceremony until Anaheim could be in town. That's a neat teamwork moment between two franchises.
It is. It's a franchise that gets it, so that's good. Curbs, I'm a little surprised that you left out how Cam Fowler said that it was amazing to play against Jamie Rivers, too, one of his favorite former Detroit Red Wings.
Some say he picked number 4 because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, as I was telling that story, I just thought about that, and in the back of my head went, I didn't ask him that.
It's all right. Probably not very noteworthy, Curbs.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, hey, Curbs, to jump back into the Blues here currently right now, Radek Faksa makes his way back into the lineup. And I got to be honest with you, at the start of the season, I don't know if I would have said, man, I can't wait to get Radek Faksa back into this lineup. Not because I disrespected the player, didn't think he was good. I just didn't know the impact that he would have on the lineup. But, man, I'm excited to have Radek Faksa back in the lineup.
Gee, I talked to a couple guys with Dallas, when the Blues made that acquisition. And it ends up being a great acquisition by the Blues and an unfortunate cap casualty for Dallas. And that's just because they said you're going to love his personality. He's got a terrific sense of humor, and he just works. And then you see what goes. Then you see the way that WTF line formed immediately, and how exciting is it to have those guys back together again tonight. And in that order, And we actually, I think, Jamie, you and I, maybe in our flight delay waiting for the news on that the other night, we were saying, hey, is this a guy that if you're the St. Louis Blues, you look to extend? Based on the what you've seen from him. He clearly brings a lot. He's terrific on the faceoff dot. And you're right. You play against it. Well, you play. We see games against players all the time, and sometimes you don't realize just how impactful they can be game in, game out. But without a shred of doubt, you've noticed the difference without him calming things down in that center spot in that middle of the ice. And more importantly, the penalty kill. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does when he gets back in there and how that helps the penalty kill here, too. So that's been a real terrific addition for the Blues, and it'll be interesting to see if it plays into more than just 1 year with this team.
Good stuff, Curbs. We're looking forward to listening to you tonight when the Blues take on the Ducks, man. They got to get it going here at home. It's been shaky.
Yeah, they got to get it going here at home. And look, short of saying you need a 4-0 start to this homestand, which is the homestand, I mean, these are 4 teams with Calgary right above you coming in for 2. And then Anaheim, you've got to take care of business here and especially get this homestand off right. They don't have a lot of more room to try and feel things out. So I'd venture to say the stretch from now until the 4 nations break in the middle of February becomes maybe the critical piece to your season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Curbs.
Yep, definitely. All right, Curbs, have a great call tonight.
Okay, guys, have an awesome day.
Thank you. That's Chris Kerber, voice of the Blues here on 101 ESPN. It's something that you've talked about with this homestand.
Yeah. I don't think it's like a secret.
Yeah.
I think Monty's saying the same things inside those walls. I don't know. I'm not in there. But based on the way he's approaching all this and wants the fans there and wants the boys to I don't think he's thinking, let's be 500 in these 4 games.
Right.
I think he wants all 4 games.
Let's dominate some faces is what he's saying. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Under the radar NFL storylines. Broncos and Bills next on 101 ESPN. It's one thing, Jamie, to come on the radio and say, yeah, call our guy Stewie and, he'll help you out. It's another thing to go through the process. And that's what you did recently. You got a house. It was a house that you guys fell in love with. And it's like, okay, now we got to get the loan in place. We got to go through that process. It's fun to go through the home, check everything out, fall in love with it. But then once you got to get the loan in place, it can be a little tricky unless you call our guy Stewie.
Yeah, Stewie was great. There were so many variables. Just like every time you buy a house, there's different obstacles that present themselves. And for me in my personal life, going through divorce and all this stuff, it's like, how do I get this? Stewie was awesome. Held my hand through the whole thing. And when things were needed, he sent me exactly what he needs, and I was able to provide that to him. Because sometimes in the past, they just flood you with all these things. You're like, and then you're kind of lost, you're scared, you're nervous. You don't want to ask the questions because you feel like, maybe it's a dumb question. Call Stewie. First of all, there's no dumb questions. Stewie loves to answer all the questions. And if you have a problem or some kind of an obstacle, put it out there, because Stewie can find a way around it. He can find a solution. He can build a program to help you out. He's always wanting to help you, and he wants to get to the closing table, especially if it's the home of your dreams, for that matter. So please pick up the phone. Call him. He's an unbelievable dude. You can text him at the same time, too. Gives out his personal cell phone number. That number's 314-324-4440.
Again, 314-324-4440.
Yeah, Stewie, sometimes he's on vacation. He goes down to Florida. Lucky guy. Wish I was Stewie. Yeah. But he's still going to answer your calls. He's still going to answer your texts. If not, it's going to be his son. It's going to be someone from the office going to get a hold of you immediately to make sure you're taken care of. So please get in touch with him or
Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
A new year means a fresh start, and that includes your home. Mosby Building Arts is ready to help make this year your best yet with beautifully updated interior and exterior spaces. Visit ColeMosby.com to schedule a free remodeling consultation.
We want to hear from you. Use the Scott Lee Mic Drop feature on the 101 mobile app. Give us your... .101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues take on the Anaheim Ducks tonight. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. And you can listen to that one right here on 101 ESPN. We just got done talking with Chris Kerber. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. Also tonight, the first college football playoff semifinal. Penn State, Notre Dame, Capital One Orange Bowl. Should be a fun one. So that is tonight. We talked about that earlier in the show. So once again, if you missed that, just head to the podcast page. We're going to dive into some of the under-the-radar storylines for Wild Card Weekend. We're going to go with the Bills and Broncos. That's coming your way next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
We will have all three of the NFL wildcard matchups on Sunday for you. Pre-game starting at 11:30 a.m. kickoff, noon between the Bills and the Broncos. And we also have the Eagles, Packers, as well as the Bucs and Commanders. That late game kickoff at 7 o'clock. Bills, Broncos. So we dove into the under-the-radar storylines yesterday for the two games on Saturday. As we start off the under-the-radar storylines for Bills and Broncos, I think for me, guys, it's Buffalo and whether or not they're more playoff built. I've talked about this in the past with their roster, how they were almost built like a dome team, which doesn't make a damn bit of sense when you're in Buffalo. Teams should have to fear going into Buffalo in January. You don't want to play that team because it's physical, it's tough, it's going to be cold. It hadn't been that way thus far in a Sean McDermott, who's a defensive-minded coach. But I think more now than in previous years, Buffalo is a playoff roster. I don't think they're going to be necessarily tested as much in this game.
Really?
I think the Broncos are good, but I don't think that this is. Let me rephrase. This isn't Baltimore.
Okay.
This isn't Baltimore. But Denver, I think, gives you at least enough of a test to say, okay, where are you as a defense, Buffalo? Because they have played very well this year.
Where are you as an offense? The Broncos' defense is really good.
It's been stout.
I mean, I think this is more of a test than what people are making it out to be. Do I think the Broncos win this game? No, I don't believe that to be true. But I don't see the Bills just walking in and destroying this team. Like, Bo Nix, for a guy that I thought, has thoroughly impressed me. In fact, some of his numbers through this season, I sent it to the group chat, are better than Josh Allen's numbers. And it's not like cherry picking, like real stats, too.
Right.
And that defense, I think they led the NFL in sacks as a defense, or they're top of the food chain.
This is one of your strength versus strengths matchups between Buffalo and Denver. If the Broncos only allowed 2.5 sacks per plus turnovers per game, fourth in the league. Buffalo led the NFL in turnover differential. Denver defense, when it comes to them, they only allow, let me see here. Denver Where's that stat that I was looking at earlier? Sorry, guys. Buffalo averaged a league high 3.35 points per drive at home, scoring a touchdown on a league best 41.8% of those possessions. The Bills, they average a league low 1.61 points per drive this season with a touchdown on just 16.6%. So like Buffalo at home, as soon as they get the ball, they're scoring almost every 50% of the time they get the damn ball.
Some would say that's pretty good.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Denver, to your point, Jamie, they have allowed 16.6% touchdowns for opponents. So like Denver stout defensively, Buffalo stout offensively. It's going to be very interesting.
I just think it's going to be an entertaining game. That's all.
Yeah. And Bo Nix can move. You know, his athleticism has been on display.
You have to consider Sean Payton. Like, what's his involvement, apart from being the head coach? But, like, the great head coaches, they may as well be players because they are a huge part of the game. Like the Belichicks, the McVays, Andy Reid, like all these guys. It's like having an extra player on the field sometimes for your team.
Right.
So you have to wonder, like, what does Sean Payton have that maybe McDermott doesn't? That he's not ready for, because Sean Payton has won a Super Bowl and he's been there a long time. Like, I don't know. I just these little things I think of.
You know, Bo Nix too. Speaking of Sean Payton, he's done a nice job of getting the ball out of Nix's hands quickly. Get to your third step or your fifth step and get the damn ball out. If not, if something's not there, just take off and run.
Well, that's the thing.
He has simplified things.
I heard an interview with Sean Payton. That wasn't an interview. He was sitting down talking football with a couple of other people. Maybe it was on the NFL Network. And he talked about that rule in particular. Bo Nix, he's like, you drop back, you got your first reads, you don't see it, roll out. He's like, you got such good footwork, you roll out, and if you still don't see anything, you throw the ball away.
Right.
But he's like, a lot of times when you roll out, when you got good wheels, the opponent has to play you as a running back at that point, which sometimes opens up a pass for you.
Sure.
So to your point, he's built what's going on here around the strengths and weaknesses, I guess, of Bo Nix.
He's got a lot of experience. I mean, I think that has mattered. If you look at Brock Purdy being in the right system under Shanahan, excellent play caller, a lot around him, but he had all of that, all of that experience coming out of Iowa State. You look at Bo Nix, decorated college career, started at Auburn, wound up at Oregon.
Kind of something to be said about some of these quarterbacks that play longer.
Yep.
Like, I know all these guys want to, their junior year, you want to opt into the NFL draft because there's risk of injury. I understand. Sure. I understand the pros and the cons. The cons, that side, I understand it. But the pros, there are times where you can almost dictate where you're going to go in the draft based on how strong the draft class is, too. Sure. Strategically, it might be better to stay another year because the draft class is a little bit weaker. Now you're getting paid up front, but also get that experience. So when you do get to the NFL, you're a little older. You've had more starts. You've had more games. Like Trey Lance, all that talent in the world,
right? But
he barely played in college, and you can tell.
Yep.
It just hasn't translated. He hasn't gotten the reps, and he's not getting that.
He's not getting it now, right?
No.
Yeah, that's part of the issue. You're right. And the 49ers already gave up on him, and I see why with Brock Purdy doing what he's doing.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see.
And Trey Lance was a part of that. They went to Brock Purdy because Trey Lance wasn't good.
He wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So that's the only, it's not like they had Brock Purdy and then hopefully Trey Lance. No. Trey Lance was the big shiny toy, and it didn't work.
Right. I think they knew. I think Shanahan knew early on too.
So what I heard
in training camp,
what I read or heard was that Shanahan did not want to draft Trey Lance, but John Lynch did.
Yeah, he's kind of talked into it.
Talked into it a little bit, and Shanahan had somebody else.
Mac Jones.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
You never know, but
Mac Jones, you'd have to think, has probably more talent than Brock Purdy, based upon the starting point, anyways. Sure. So Shanahan may have been able to work some magic with him too.
Right. Either way, they traded up. Got Trey Lance. Fortunately, they took Brock Purdy with Mr. Irrelevant there. But going back to this Broncos and Bills matchup, sometimes we can get complicated. Sometimes we simplify things too much. I do really think that this comes down to Bo Nix and whether or not he turns the ball over.
Or Josh Allen. Does he have the playoff hiccups?
I don't think he will.
But we say that, but and all year he has proven to all of the haters that he's not the, I call it the hand grenade play, where it's not going to blow up.
Right.
He's done a great job of managing the football very, very well. But
yeah, it's in him. to have the playoff mix. But, even that, you have to go all the way back to, like, the game against Houston. Remember when Deshaun Watson was good?
Oh, yeah.
A long time ago.
That almost feels like an eternity ago.
It really does.
It does.
But there was a playoff game, I believe, in 2019. It was Josh Allen and it was Deshaun Watson in Houston. And Josh Allen and Watson, they were kind of going back and forth. And Allen took a sack. It was like 40-yard sack.
I remember that. He kept running back.
He kept running backwards.
And eventually getting rid of the ball.
Yeah, it was wanting to beat a mess. And Deshaun Watson pulled a Houdini move to get out of. I mean, there was two. I don't know what Houston's idea. Like, I don't know what Billick was. Brian. What was his name?
Brian Billick.
Not Brian Billick.
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien. Thank you.
Brian Billick.
Let's see. So Brian Billick. I was watching. Did you ever see the Baltimore Bullies? The 30 for 30.
That's great.
I was watching that earlier. That's why I got Billick stuck in my head.
No,
Thank you,
fine.
Bill O'Brien.
I forgive you.
So Bill O'Brien. I don't know what the offensive line's deal was there, but it's like, hey, we're just gonna have two unblocked linebackers just come streaking at, Deshaun Watson, and Watson bailed out of it and made a big play. I think that version of like Josh Allen, the one that took the big sack, I think that's done.
Well, that's maturation.
He's had some big time playoff moments.
Anthony, I'm just putting it out in the universe so that if it happens,
I like what you're doing.
If it happens, then I can say I told you so.
You just broke your glasses.
That's fine.
Oh, no. Can you put those back together?
Probably not.
Oh.
Marshy, what do you think of these?
I think they look great.
Yeah.
Do you need those tonight?
It's a look. No.
It's what the kids are wearing these days,
Thank
right?
God Amazon. I'm not kidding you. I bought 6 pairs before one road trip, and I bought another 6 pairs while I was on the road trip because I do this stuff all the time. I leave them in my pocket. I sit on my glasses. These are the cheapest ass glasses you've ever seen in your life. They are, but I've got them everywhere. I've got another pair in here.
Good.
Right now, another pair in my, they call it the TV bag. I've got a pair in my truck. 6 pairs around the house. Yeah. So
good.
The fact that we're dealing with this is fine. That's going to run a little havoc on me checking out the computer here. Maybe a monocle here, like the Monopoly guy.
Snaps. All right, that's Jamie Rivers. If you see him in the snake pit, he's got a good look going on with his glasses that just shattered. Speaking of Jamie, he's got his keys to the game tonight, and we'll also play Light the Layup next on 101 ESPN. Auto Centers Nissan, they've got their new year, new key sales event. Over 700 vehicles, all in one location. Heavily discounted prices on every vehicle in stock, including new Nissans that are discounted up to $11,000 off with several brand new models priced under $30K. If you've been fighting the weather here in St. Louis, your car won't start, or you're sliding all over the place, and you're just driving around in an unreliable vehicle, go see my friends at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Every 2025 Nissan model in stock comes with a free lifetime warranty and 3 free oil changes, plus that peace of mind coverage that comes with their 30-day return promise. And at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum throughout the month, 0 down and no payments for 3 months on select used vehicles, or no payments for 6 months on select new Nissans right now. Plus, you get the low financing rates, such as 0% APR for 60 months on select new Nissan models. So check them out online, autocentersnissan.com, or when you head out to Herculaneum, tell them Stalter sent you. It's Auto Centers Nissan. Blues and Ducks pregame at 6 o'clock right here on 101 ESPN. And on the Blues Radio Network, we'll have the puck drop at 7 o'clock from Enterprise Center. And, of course, we've got Jamie Rivers for the next 15 minutes or so. So we've got his keys to victory tonight for the Blues against the Ducks.
Well, in theme, be ready to rock at puck drop.
There you go.
I mean, we always talk about having a big start, playing good at home and all that stuff. I think it's never been more important than right now. You're coming off a couple of games where you scored a lot of goals, you played a little bit loosey-goosey. 2 games you probably should have won. So it went from a 4-game winning streak potentially to now you have a 2-game losing streak because you'd won the 2 games prior to that, that little road trip. So that's a big swing right there. And I think that the Blues, for this game in particular, going to be a lot of emotions because Cam Fowler's going to have his 1,000th game presentation and all that. And he's playing against his former team for the very first time. And he's playing against his former team like he's never been traded before. So this is a first for him to play former teammates. I can tell you from experience, the very first time's a little bit weird to do it, right? Now, some of us grew accustomed to it, somewhat callous to it, somewhat like, that's just another team I played for.
Right.
But not Cam Fowler. Okay?
Sometimes some of us show up and you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. I played for this team once.
I forgot, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. But no, Cam Fowler's going to have a big night for himself here. And I think that the Blues against this Anaheim team, you have to play with structure. This Anaheim team has a lot of young, freewheeling talent out there that if you get into that kind of a pond hockey game, you might
They call that shinny hockey.
Yeah, shinny hockey. Good call, Anthony.
Thank you.
If you get into that kind of a game, you find yourself losing because you played their game. Don't do that. Play your game. Manage the puck. Manage the game. That's a big thing with Monty. Game management. And all that means for our listeners, some teams like, well, that's a puck management. Now we got game management. Game management is recognizing the situation on the ice, the personnel on the ice, the time on the clock, the zone you're in. It's knowing what your best outcome can be in that situation and not hoping to make a play or guessing at something. That's game management. So managing the game properly, knowing time on the clock, 5 minutes left in the period, don't get caught with, outmanned coming up the ice, all that stuff. I think net front presence is going to be huge tonight. They've got a couple of monsters on the back end. They've got Radko Gudas and Jacob Trouba. Those guys love to go head hunting and they play tough. They're going to dare you to get to the inside, and you got to go. You've got to go. As a group, you've got to just know that mentally we've got to get to the inside. And at the same time, you want to protect the middle of the ice for your goaltenders. Hasn't been a great job the last couple of games. The goalies also have not pulled their weight as much as they have prior to these last couple of games. Joel Hofer in the pipes tonight. It's going to be a big game for him, but give him a chance. Let him see some pucks from the outside and make sure that anybody who's around the blue paint gets eliminated from there.
There you go. All right, that was Jamie's keys to victory. Some were asking how many keys. We eliminated that because Paul pooped himself the other night in the snake pit.
Did he?
Yeah, pooped himself and decided that we're not going to go with the specific keys.
Oh, he said that gets old. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. He didn't poop himself.
No, he didn't poop himself. Yeah. He said, okay, guys, the 87 keys of the game, bits get old.
Right,
that's
what it. I thought he pooped himself.
He may have. Maybe that's why he was grumpy first.
He did that.
I think what happened, Anthony, is he trusted a fart. And you can't always.
Sometimes you get, especially if you've had certain food the day before.
And there's certain times, too, not to be too graphic, but we're all adults here. Mm-hmm. There's certain times, too, where you just know, you can just let it rip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's going to be a nice, you get it out of you.
Little foghorns are good.
There's other times you're not sure, so you kind of slowly administer the fart, and then you feel like there might be traction.
Yeah.
Stop that right away.
Yep.
It's like the rumble strip when you're on the highway.
Yeah.
It's a little warning.
Mm-hmm. It's a little warning for you. You don't want to keep pushing through at that point because literally then you'll be like Paul.
That makes sense.
And poop your pants.
Yeah, that makes sense. DLW 1904 did confirm he crapped himself. All right, let's light the lamp.
And a couple of guys can really shoot the puck.
Shoot! I must confess you scored first.
Well, who was the first person?
Breakaway! Shoots! Score! We got hockey to learn.
I love our snake pit. I love all of our listeners for that matter. God, they're funny.
Jamie and I just read the same one from Waterboy.
Yep.
Rivers trusted a fart, now his glasses are broken.
Reverberated throughout your entire body.
Yep.
No, they're fine.
Jamie broke his glasses last segment. Okay.
Passionate.
Here we go.
Slammed my hand down right on my glasses.
You did, yeah.
Good thing they're 25-cent glasses.
Mm-hmm. That's why they broke so easily. All right, Marsh, what do we got for our standings?
Yeah, so the other day was good for us. It was good for you, Anthony. Of course, we gave Carey Pavel Buchnevich, and Anthony, after you crapped all over him for a full segment, he ended up scoring that night.
Yeah.
So Carey
You're welcome.
ends up getting a point.
Yeah.
He has 13 points.
Damn, Carey.
I chose Jake Neighbors because Jamie did a great job breaking down
I should have
why.
shut my mouth.
You should. No, you got to do your job.
Because that was going to be my pick with Jake Neighbors.
So I picked Jake Neighbors, and he scored, which gave me 2 points. So I'm 12 right now, 1 point behind Carey.
One off the lead.
Anthony, you got yourself a goal thanks to Jordan Kyrou.
Yeah.
So you went from 3 points to 4.
Roozy.
Here I go. Little engine that good.
Hey, just keep plugging away. Lots of games.
Absolutely.
Lots of games
Darn
left.
right. Thank
Never
you.
know.
The only person that did not get a point was Jamie. He picked Dylan Holloway, and Robert Thomas was the one that scored.
And Holloway got absolutely robbed. Freaking Fleury.
So what does Jamie have?
Jamie has 7 points.
7 points.
And Carey has already picked Dylan Holloway.
Yeah.
We saw that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Texted us. Jerk.
I'm gonna go with Cam Fowler tonight.
Wow, Marshy loves the moment.
I was waiting for you to go with the storyline.
Marcy
Cam
grabbed it.
Fowler.
Hey, 1,000th game, he scored 2. Why can't he score against his former team?
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I'm also going to be a prisoner of the moment and pick Brandon Saad. It is his 900th game tonight.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot.
Give it a shot.
I'm gonna go out on a limb a little bit, boys. What do you guys think about Jordan Kyrou? Huh?
I'd say he's a pretty sure bet.
Jordan Kyrou. Just keep chugging along.
Yeah, just keep chipping away, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Just use the jab. By the 12th round, it's going to pay off.
Exactly. You guys are gonna get tired, and all of a sudden,
You can throw the hook then.
yeah, I'll probably wind up losing. So Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Jamie has got to get out of here. He's got to get down to the Enterprise Center.
I do.
Blues and Ducks tonight. Jamie will be part of the TV coverage, of course, for FanDuel Sports Network. Jamie, good stuff as always. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, you will. Thanks, boys.
All righty. Andrew Marsh and I have got the Gauntlet next in the Fastlane on 101 ESPN.
If you are currently thinking about selling your home and you're looking outside, you're not sure if it's the right time, maybe you don't know if it's the right price, you don't know exactly how the market's trending, things are getting crazy out there, the market's hot, the market's cold, don't try to do all that work by yourself. Call the best in the business. That's Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Here's a couple things about Gloria Liu. One, she's an extraordinary agent. She's going to take great care of you, knows that selling a home, buying a home, all of that can be very stressful, and she takes care of handling all the tough questions for you, walks you through the process. Gloria Liu's also been in the business for over 20 years, and she's seen it all, done it all. She understands exactly what you're going through, and she also understands the market right now, what price to ask for your home so that you can sell for the most money available, but also sell quickly. She also helps you out because she's got a database with thousands of ready, willing, and able buyers. That pushes more traffic to your listing. Hopefully more showings for you. Ultimately, maybe multiple offers, but yes, more money in your pocket. And Gloria Liu makes sure you get to the closing table. So please call Gloria Liu today. Tell her Jamie Rivers sent you. Her number's 314-325-6888. Again, that's 314-325-6888. Or you can always visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
categories, one challenger. Can you survive the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit BlueNoteRoofingSTL.com for a free inspection.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN, 4 o'clock, your time check, brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, and we welcome in Sean, who's our latest contestant here in the Gauntlet. What's up, Sean?
What's going on, fellas? How are you?
Not bad. We appreciate you playing. We appreciate you listening. You have only 2 choices today. You got Marsh or you have me. Who would you like to take on?
I'll take Kerry Davis.
We'll see if we can get Carey from Puerto Rico. But
exactly. I'll play Stalter today, please.
All right, there you go. Good luck to you, Sean.
All right.
Good luck, Anthony.
Thank you.
All right, Sean. Anthony's heading to the cone of silence. You know the drill. Tell me to spin that wheel, and we'll see what category you get.
Spin that wheel, Marshy.
All right, Sean, which category are you hoping to get as you prepare to face off against Anthony? Say that one more time. You kind of cut out there.
I said it doesn't matter. I just know a little bit about everything.
All right. Well, we'll see if you know anything about football, and we know that Anthony loves football, so this one might be tough. If you do not know the rules here, and Sean, I believe that you do because you love listening to the Fast Lane, but for those that don't know the rules, both you and Anthony will get 4 questions, same questions. If you get the question right without the options, you get 2 points. If you get it right using the options, you get 1 point. And of course, if you miss it all together, you get 0 points. Are you ready to go?
Let's do it, buddy.
All right, question number 1. In Missouri Tigers football history, which quarterback owns the record for most career passing yards in team history?
Wow. I kind of want to say Chase Daniels. Let's go Chase Daniels' final answer.
Question number 2. Which NFL team drafted Drew Lock in the 2nd round of the 2019 draft?
Just seen him the other day, too. Options, please.
Options are the Seattle Seahawks, the New York Giants, or the Denver Broncos.
New York Giants, I think. Final answer.
Question number 3. Which NFL team has the longest drought of not winning their division? This team has not won their division since 1989.
Oh, wow. I think the options, Marshall.
Options are the Cleveland Browns, the New York Jets, or the Las Vegas/Oakland Raiders.
What was the first one again? I'm sorry.
The first one was the Cleveland Browns.
We'll take them. Cleveland Browns.
Final answer? Perfect. Question number 4. The last time the Raiders won a playoff game was after the 2002 regular season, when they beat which team in the AFC Championship game to send them to the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers?
What year was that again, Marcy?
2002. So after the 2002 regular season, who did they defeat in the AFC Championship game to send them to the Super Bowl?
I think it was the Bills. Give me the options, please.
Options are the New York Jets, the Tennessee Titans, or the Baltimore Ravens.
Maybe it wasn't the Bills. We'll take the Baltimore Ravens, please. Final answer.
All right. Let's get Anthony back in here. How you feeling?
I feel like Johnson & Johnson stocks and City got arrested.
All right, Anthony's walking back in from the cone of silence. He's putting his earbuds on. Anthony, how you feeling?
A little nervous.
Well, you should be. You better pack a lunch.
All right, fair enough.
Your category is...
Or at least a Lunchable.
Yeah, Lunchables. Oh, man.
Lunchables are good.
Lunchables are solid.
I love Lunchables.
I don't quite know if the meat is actual meat in those things, but my kids like them.
Well, either way, pack a lunch or a Lunchable. Your category is football.
Ooh, okay, a little foosball action. All right.
Here we go. Question number 1. In Missouri Tigers football history, which quarterback owns the record for most career passing yards in team history?
Most career passing yards in team history. Chase Daniel put up some big-time numbers. Played in an offense that would be conducive for throwing around the yard. Franklin might be in that mix. Is there a quarterback that I'm not thinking of, though? Why don't I get the options here, just in case I'm missing anybody?
Your options are Chase Daniel, James Franklin, or Drew Lock.
Yeah, of course. I think the obvious one would be Chase Daniel, but I think James I'm going to go Chase Daniel. Chase Daniel, final answer.
Question number 2. Which NFL team drafted Drew Lock in the second round of the 2019 draft?
Which team drafted Drew Lock? Drew Lock was a Denver Bronco, and then he was dealt to the Seahawks for Russell Wilson, part of that Russell Wilson trade. So Drew Lock, Denver Broncos, final answer.
Question number 3. Which NFL team has the longest drought of not winning their division? This team has not won their division since 1989.
Wow. They've not won their division since 1989. That's a long time, Marsh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your obvious choices, like the Jets, but I think the Jets have won their division. Like, they had to have won their division with Ryan or Parcells. Let's see here, running through the teams real quick. What about, like, the Browns? The Browns also had a long layoff. When was the last time they won their division? It's got to be Cleveland. Give me the Cleveland Browns, final answer.
Question number 4. The last time the Raiders won a playoff game was after the 2002 regular season, when they beat which team in the AFC Championship game to send them to the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers?
Oh, wow. AFC title game when they faced the Bucs. Oh, man. I want to say it was like the Jaguars, but that don't feel right, Marsh. I was in college. I'm trying to place myself. I'll take the options.
Options are the New York Jets, the Tennessee Titans, or the Baltimore Ravens.
I think I would remember if it was the Jets. Jets, Ravens, Titans. Titans were really good. I'll say the Titans. Final answer.
All right, let's go over these. Anthony, how do you feel after?
I don't feel great.
No?
No.
All right, well, we'll see how you did.
Okay.
All right, let's start with question number 1. In Missouri Tigers football history, which quarterback owns the record for most career passing yards in team history? Sean, you said Chase Daniel. Anthony, you said Chase Daniel. The correct answer is Chase Daniel. But Sean did not use the options.
Good job, Sean. You followed your gut.
Thanks, buddy. That's a big gut.
2-1. Sean leads. Question number 3. Which NFL team has the longest drought of not winning their division? This team has not won their division since 1989. With the options. Or did he use the options? Sean, you said the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, man.
Anthony, you said the Cleveland Browns. Correct answer is the Cleveland Browns. But Anthony did not use the options. We are all knotted up at 3.
There we go.
Question number 4.
Thank you, sir.
The last time the Raiders won a playoff game was after the 2002 regular season when they beat which team in the AFC Championship game to send them to the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers? Sean, you went with the Baltimore Ravens, who were also a really good team.
Yes, they were.
Anthony, you took the options and said the Tennessee Titans. The correct answer is the Tennessee Titans.
Ooh.
Anthony has a 1-point lead.
Ooh.
Heading into the final question, which NFL team drafted Drew Lock in the second round of the 2019 draft? Sean, you said the New York Giants. Anthony, you went with the Denver Broncos. If it is the Broncos, Anthony, you win. If it is the Giants, perhaps Sean could tie this one up. Sean.
You have chosen poorly.
You lose.
It was the Denver Broncos.
Ooh.
Drew Lock currently plays for the
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, you're right.
He currently plays for the Giants, yes.
Yep. You know, it's interesting when he asked me that, Sean. I don't know if you had the same reaction. I almost got tripped up for a second because he does. Yeah, he plays for the Giants now. He was a Seahawk, but I almost had to work backwards. But nonetheless, man, Sean, we appreciate you playing.
Yeah, as soon as you said Denver, it kind of rang a bell. But
sure.
At least it was a decent match, and I didn't get crushed like a pair of Jamie Rivers reading glasses.
No. Very true. Sean, we appreciate you listening, man. You're a lot of fun.
Good job,
Thank
Sean.
you.
All right. Thanks, guys. You have a good day.
You too. Thanks, Sean. See ya. I thought that Chase Daniel one was going to cost me, especially after you read Drew Lock, the second one. Normally, that's like the first.
Yeah.
You almost got me there, Marsh. All right. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We're off to a good start in 2025. I feel like we're racking up some dubs right now.
Yeah, we've only lost one. And it was the first
installment?
The first installment.
Who got it? Was it Carey?
Yeah, Carey lost.
Carey. He's chosen a lot, though. The odds are not in his favor.
I don't know why people go with Carey first.
He's likable. He's really likable. They thought, you know what? He's likable. We'll just go for him. You know?
Well, last year he won 54 times.
Did he?
54 times. He played out of everybody, he played the most. 54 and 32.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Still a good win percentage there for our guy, Kerry Davis.
Yeah.
Marsh and I got you covered for the next 2 hours-ish leading up to the pregame show for the Blues and the Ducks at 6 o'clock. Jamie is on his way downtown. And speaking of Marsh, he's got what's trending next on 101 ESPN.
What's trending now in the world of sports?
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
What's trending now is brought to you by Goodwill, creating opportunities and changing lives. Together, building a brighter future. Give hope, give local, give Goodwill.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN alongside Anthony Stalter. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Anthony?
Yes, sir.
Good old Ryan Helsley agreed to an $8.2 million contract for the 2025 season. He avoids arbitration and will be a free agent in 2026. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. For those that maybe been driving around and didn't know, they've been doing something, they didn't know that Ryan Helsley avoided arbitration. What are your initial thoughts on the Cardinals doing this, the dollar amount, and then also, are you still sort of perplexed as to why he will even be a Cardinal heading into this season, given what they have come out and said about what they believe this roster and to be essentially?
Sure. Yeah, good question. So, one, well-deserved for Ryan Helsley. Let's start there. Ryan Helsley's coming off his best statistical season. The kid was dominant last year in that closer role. He is now one of the premier closers in Major League Baseball. Got himself an All-Star nomination, and then he was the saves leader as well as the NL reliever of the year. So, well-deserved for Ryan Helsley to get a raise after what he did. Good for the Cardinals avoiding arbitration. There's no reason to go to a hearing with Ryan Helsley given the season that he had. So that's good. The arbitration process is set up where you can only make a certain amount. You're going to get some sort of raise. It makes sense for the Cardinals to probably side more with whatever Ryan Helsley and his agent was asking for, as opposed to going to arbitration, going through that process. So that's one. Full stop on that. Given the current state of the Cardinals and the direction of this organization, given also Ryan Helsley's contract situation, which is that once he's done, this is his final year of arbitration, he will become a free agent next year. He's 30 years old. The Cardinals are highly unlikely to sign him to $100+ million figure moving forward, which is the number that I've seen, Marsh. I can only go off of what he's estimated to get. The Cardinals aren't going to give him $100 million. So you ask me, am I surprised that he's still a Cardinal? And the answer is yes. So maybe the Cardinals are playing the leverage game. Perhaps now that he has been signed, he avoided arbitration, his next team doesn't have to go through that. Maybe he'll be a Philly in less than a week. I don't know. There's inherent risk in keeping him, though, to the All-Star break. Or I'm sorry, the All-Star break, the trade deadline.
Yeah.
His value may go through the roof, but he's still a rental. And I would imagine that you're still going to be able to command a decent prospect package from another team based on the fact that it would be a full year of Ryan Helsley. So in other words, if the Phillies come calling, you can ask for more now at the start of the year, knowing that you're going to have a full year of Ryan Helsley than what you can command at the deadline. But will there be more suitors at the deadline? If there's more suitors, it's a bigger market, and obviously you can start to pit teams against each other. That's the advantage of waiting until the trade deadline. The other aspect of this, and some Cardinals fans have brought this up, why not keep him? He's an all-star closer.
Yeah.
If the Cardinals could turn things around in a hurry next year in a suspect division, why not just keep him? Okay, fair. You're going to keep him for a year, and then what? That'd be my question.
Yeah.
It's fair to say, why not just keep your all-star closer? If you think you might be in contention, whether it's for the division next year or the wild card, even with the fact that you're going through this retool, why not keep him? Okay, what are you going to do with him then? If you're not paying him, why would you keep him? Because at the end of the day, he is an asset. I realize that we're talking about human beings, and we're talking about one of your top players on your favorite team. But if you're looking long term, I don't know of a organization that's in a retool that would keep their closer when he's about to become a free agent.
And if you do keep him, let's say the Cardinals do have interest in re-signing him when he hits free agency, which I just don't think that to be the case, given what we know about their whole dollar situation. I just don't see it happening.
I don't either.
Who's to say, and let's just say they do have the money and they can do it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to come back.
No.
He can sign somewhere else. So then you're losing out on what would be one of your biggest trade pieces, and you get nothing.
Absolutely.
And it wouldn't shock me at all if that's exactly what happens. I don't think it will. He will at least be traded at the deadline, bare minimum, unless this team has a weird season. And by weird, I mean they're really good, and he needs to be here, essentially.
Sure.
Otherwise, he's bare minimum traded at the deadline.
I've brought this up before. This reminds me of the Kevin Shattenkirk deal.
Yeah.
Kevin Shattenkirk was heading into his age 27 season in the 2015-2016 NHL year. He was set to become a free agent. And the talk in that offseason was, do you trade him now? Do you sign him long term? You're probably not going to sign him long term because of the cap and the money and all that. Mm-hmm. So why don't you trade him now in the offseason and potentially get more for Kevin Shattenkirk? Mm-hmm. Doug Armstrong decided to keep him, made it to the deadline. He was a minus 14 plus minus, right? And I realize that's not the end all be all stat, but just he had never been a negative player in his entire career leading up to that point. He kept them, and he wound up trading them, and I don't think the trade value was as good at the deadline as it would have been in the offseason, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're playing the hindsight game, but it didn't feel like Doug Armstrong got enough for him at the time.
I remember being very frustrated when that happened.
A lot of Blues fans were like
very frustrated.
Very disappointed in the return for Shattenkirk.
Yes.
Now imagine if Kevin Shattenkirk was coming off a career year. Mm-hmm. That's what the Ryan Helsley situation is. Helsley's coming off a career year. Mm-hmm. He's a closer. He's premium. This is a premium spot for a contender. Mm-hmm. The Cubs traded for Aroldis Chapman as the final piece to their unfortunate 2016 World Series championship.
It was a terrible October.
It was a terrible October for us in St. Louis and in Cleveland, for that matter.
Yeah. Well, but it's always terrible there.
Teams are always going to trade for that closer if they need one, right? But you're rolling the dice if you're the Cardinals.
Absolutely.
Assuming that he's going to be healthy.
This is a guy who has been injured before.
Yes.
The worst thing to happen is he gets injured and you can't trade him at all, and then he ends up leaving.
That's correct.
I wonder
and you get nothing for him.
And you get nothing. I wonder if they'll have like an innings limit for him. Or maybe,
and even that,
yeah. I mean, you could fall down the stairs. What I'm saying? Like anything could happen.
Yeah. I've said this before, Marsh. And I'm sure you've got some other stuff too to get to what's trending. But I've said this before with the Cardinals. If I were ever in charge of any team, especially in baseball, but any team in sports, I was a GM or I was a president, I was in charge of making the decisions in the offseason, right? And God willing, I will never be put in that spot for your favorite team because I don't know what I'm doing. But one of the things that I would do is I would try to eliminate questions about my team or my roster. And I feel like the Cardinals they do the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They create more questions.
Yeah, they're like the Riddler.
In the offseason.
They're like the Riddler in Gotham. There's just question marks all around the city.
Absolutely.
Next thing you know, it's flooded. And, Batman is helping everybody out. But we don't have a Batman here in St. Louis. Not that I know of.
Well, I'm sure we have a Batman, right? Like a bat person.
Well, I don't know.
To collect the bats.
I mean,
at Busch Stadium.
There's people that like to dress up, but...
No, I'm talking about collecting the bats, like after the players...
Oh, a bat boy.
Yeah, bat boy.
Yeah, not those bats.
Okay. You're talking about different bats.
Different, the ones that fly.
Marsh, I'm trying to eliminate questions.
Yeah.
And all this Ryan Helsley situation is doing is creating more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Will he be healthy? Will he be productive? What's his market going to be? Can you trade him? Here's the other thing, too. What if you are winning?
That's a great question.
What if you're winning? What if you're winning the division by 2 games? What if you're winning the division by 8 games at the deadline? You're not going to trade your all-star closer?
Would you?
No.
So then can we blame them if they do?
No. You're talking about if they do trade him when you're winning the division? You should.
Could you blame them if they don't? If they, let's just say they are winning the division
and they hold on to him.
They hold on to him.
No, I couldn't blame them. No.
Okay.
But you created this situation, though. You created these questions for yourself.
The worst thing would be, though, I don't know if it's worse, but you do trade them and then your team actually is somewhat decent and you don't have a closer.
Right. Exactly.
It's a weird situation to be in.
But see, I think that would be, I wouldn't be hypocritical on that.
Mm-hmm.
If they decided, let's say they traded him to, I keep using the Phillies as an example. Let's say they trade him to the Phillies within the next, week, and they get a pretty good pool of prospects back in return. 4-year retool, by the way, and this is the point. The Cardinals have stated we are in a transition right now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say that. You didn't say that. They could have very easily said we are going to push our feet to the floor here. We don't do retools. We're not transit. No, we're gonna stay competitive.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals have stated that they are in a transition period. Okay, so we're working off that. If they trade Helsley within the next week or so to the Phillies, and they're good this season, and you just trade away your better closer, I won't be a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
I won't criticize them because we can only operate off of the information that we have now. Mm-hmm. And the information we have now, pure facts. Ryan Helsley is a free agent after this year, and you are in a transition. So I will not be a hypocrite. Develop somebody else. Might not be Ryan Helsley right away, but develop somebody else. But if they were to keep him, and then they're 2 games up on the Milwaukee Brewers at the deadline, they say, you know what, we can't risk it. We could win the division. And they blow the division, and they get nothing for Ryan Helsley. You bet your sweet ass I'm going to hammer them. Because you had the opportunity to eliminate that question this year, this offseason.
Also, I think with that, too, if let's say they are leading the division, I personally don't think that's going to happen. If they do make the playoffs, it's from the wild card perspective for me.
And even that,
I'm thinking optimistically, kind of. But if you don't do anything though at the deadline, like you're not even acquiring people,
right.
If you're like then that and you still don't get rid of them, that is an even bigger issue for me.
Sure. Or add.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're not adding, if you're in a spot to win the division and you're not adding, but you're also not, and you're just not doing anything, that to me is bad business.
That's Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We have our Sports Six-Pack next. If you do have a question for us, send it into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Sports Six-Pack next in the Fast Lane.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. You can listen to Blues and Ducks tonight right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. We talked earlier with Chris Kerber. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to the podcast page and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. We have our Sports Six-Pack coming up next, so get your questions into the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. Six-Pack coming your way next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
Time for the Sports Six-Pack here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, 314-399-9646, the Air Comfort Service text line. Andrew Marsh, Anthony Stalter, we got you covered until the Blues pregame show right here on 101 ESPN starting at 6 o'clock. Question 1, please, Marsh.
Question number 1.
All right, from the 618, have any of the young players currently on the roster earned more playing time? It seems the idea is to play them because they are young only. It's a good question.
For the Blues?
No, for the Cardinals.
Oh, for the Cardinals. That is a good question, but I would counter with this. Have the Cardinals been... let me rephrase. One of the problems that we've had with the Cardinals, right? One of the criticisms that we've had with the Cardinals has been not knowing what they have on the roster, correct? So like Randy Arozarena, they didn't give enough extended playing time to Randy Arozarena to figure out what they really had in him. Well, you haven't done that for certain players either because of injuries. Like Dylan Carlson, it wasn't just lack of playing time at times. There's also injuries. Lars Nootbaar, they'd love to give him more playing time. He's injured all the time. Tyler O'Neill. Do you think they didn't know what they had in Tyler O'Neill? Do you not think they knew what his power and speed was? Mm-hmm. They wanted him to play more. He was hurt. Mm-hmm. They even gave him the center field spot when he asked for it when he wanted to play in the World Baseball Classic. So some of those players, you look at it and you say, the Cardinals knew what they had, but the guy just couldn't stay healthy. But some of these other young guys, I think, have been blocked. Mm-hmm. I think they've gotten a taste. And some of us that might be a little bit more pessimistic say, well, they had 100 at-bats. They should do whatever they can with those 100 at-bats to prove that they have what it takes to be at this level. Mm-hmm. Jordan Walker skipped AAA until last year. Mm-hmm. Like he got maybe a little bit of time down there. Heading into this year, though, it's not like he spent a lot of time in AAA. Had a little stint 2 years ago, and then last year he went down. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's going to be Ronald Acuna. Not everybody's going to be Juan Soto. Some guys develop a little slower. You now have that opportunity if you're the Cardinals, if you are in this transition, to say, we're going to give you extended playing time. Mm-hmm. And they should. Like Ollie Marmol, instead of saying, Nolan Gorman's a complete failure, understand what Nolan Gorman is. Mm-hmm. And over 400-something at-bats, you know you're going to get a lot of strikeouts, but you know the kid might hit 30-plus home runs for you. There should be value in that, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But if you continue to yo-yo back and forth either with Memphis to the big leagues or say, we're going to hold you out for a little while. We're going to continue to play this veteran. How do you really know?
They should have done this last year.
I agree.
Coming off of a terrible year in 2023, they should have done this last year.
Yeah. And I by the way, I understand what the texts are saying. Like, have they actually earned it?
Yeah. There's a few guys who, like Mason Wynn, has earned his spot for sure.
Sure. Who else are we talking about then? Gorman? So I think Gorman is who he is. And I think you either just play him knowing the strengths and the weaknesses of that player, or trade him then.
Yeah.
Like, to me, Gorman is who he is. Adam Dunn had a very successful career, being essentially what Nolan Gorman might be.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want that power lower in your lineup? He doesn't have to be a cleanup hitter.
Right.
Could you use Gorman's power, 7, 8? That's where I would hit him. I'd hit him 8. Run into some. If you strike out, you're lower in the order, you're going to get 3 ABs, man.
Mm-hmm.
If he hits you a home run, it may come in the top of the 9th when you're playing at Citi Field on a Sunday night.
And when he gets hot, he gets hot. What
Do you remember when he hit the big home run? It was a Sunday night game.
He hit a few big home runs.
You know he's going to run into one potentially in those 3 to 4 at-bats.
He kind of reminds me, and I just said it, like when he gets hot, he gets hot. It's like Brandon Saad when he scores goals. Like they come in bunches.
Absolutely.
And I remember a stretch 2 years ago when he was just going off. Like it was, and it correlated with the Cardinals playing better too. I'm not saying that the offense runs through him by any means, but like he was coming up with some big at-bats.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're looking for. So yeah, like you have to play these guys and to figure it out. I'm just frustrated as to why it took so long to get to where we're at, like with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put themselves in this position and it's very frustrating.
I think it's always good to have patience as an organization, but when it comes to some of the players for the Cardinals, you're right, they've been slow to react to things.
Well, they've been patient, but I think they've been patient with the wrong people.
That's fair.
Randy Arozarena, he had less than 30 at-bats as a Cardinal?
I think they got duped. I think the Rays duped him. And I don't think they duped him for Randy Arozarena. I think they duped him with Matthew Liberatore. Like Matthew Liberatore might be a fine reliever, left-handed reliever for the Cardinals.
But from what we know, though, from the whole minor league system thing, who's to say that he wouldn't have been a really good pitcher with any other team?
I don't think the Rays get rid of him.
I mean, you make a great point. There's a reason why he
was the number one lefty in Tampa's organization, their farm system. He was the number one lefty. I think they dangled Liberatore, asked for Jose Martinez, and you know what? We'll take that Randy Arozarena guy too. We need an outfielder. Yeah. They got duped.
Yeah, no, it's embarrassing.
To your point, maybe they're like, okay, no, we know what we have in Randy Arozarena.
Oh, the entire city knew what you had. Clearly, they didn't.
Yeah,
they'd rather go with Harrison Bader and Tyler O'Neill, who are both not on the team anymore.
Correct. They like the outfielders that they had more.
And I'm not saying like Randy Arozarena is a Hall of Famer by any means. Like he's sort of dipped off since he had that run in 2020 in the playoffs. But like that's when you were competitive. You were competitive in that stretch.
He also avoided arbitration A too with the Mariners. He's still going through the arbitration process, man. Jeez.
Yeah, that's tough. I feel like baseball needs to change that. Like there's guys who they get called up and they're like 30, they're almost like 30 years old before they can actually get a contract.
Yeah. Well, how about some of these guys? They get their first bite of the apple at 29 years old and they're like, you know what? We're not going to pay you that much. You're 29.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I did your whole song and dance there with the arbitration process. Yeah. Baseball set up. They get guaranteed contracts. So when you get paid, you get paid. And it's all guaranteed, but
it really depends on when you come up. And how good you are.
Yep.
And like Juan Soto.
Juan Soto was, I mean,
guy was winning World Series when, before I could sip a, ounce of alcohol legally,
Soto, Harper, those are the generational talents that had the opportunity to get that bite of the apple when they were still in their prime.
Yeah.
I think Machado too, right? Machado was 27, 28 when he signed his big deal with the Padres.
Oh, that's a good question.
I think he was still...
I mean, he's been around for a while. I mean, the guy played for the Baltimore Orioles. People remember that?
Right.
And he was a stud.
He's been a stud.
Baltimore.
Yep. All right, we got to get to the rest of our Sports Six-Pack next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
All right, part 2 of the Sports Six-Pack. We only got through one question. It was a good question, but we only got through one question. So, Marsh, question 2, please.
Question number 2.
From the 636, any concern about the Baltimore Ravens offense without Zay Flowers against the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I wouldn't say concerned, but who else in that Ravens passing game really scares you? I know Mark Andrews has had a good year. I think that Isaiah Likely is a really good player. But I'm talking about who keeps you up at night if you're an opposing defensive coordinator from that Ravens passing attack. It's not Rashad Bateman. It's even Mark Andrews, who's dominant in the red zone, likely seemingly catches a key touchdown pass at any given time. But they're not Zay Flowers. So you don't really have anybody that's going to take the top off the defense. So I do think that's a concern. But I think it's going to be more of a concern if you face Buffalo, Kansas City, one of the top teams in the AFC. I do not think it's going to be concerning against Pittsburgh. The Steelers are done. With all due respect to Mike Tomlin's team and what they possess on defense, I don't see how they score. I don't see how they move the ball. Baltimore's run defense is outstanding. The secondary, since they moved Marlon Humphrey inside to the nickel spot and allow Kyle Hamilton to just play safety, the secondary has been much better too. And they've always been very good at home from a defensive standpoint. So I don't see Russell Wilson being able to do much of anything. Najee Harris is fine. He's the epitome of fine. But he's going to be taken out of that game, too, because the Steelers are likely going to be trailing. So is it a concern? Yeah. But I think it's going to be a Derrick Henry game. Even if they load up, I see the Ravens getting the lead. And once they get the lead, it's going to be Derrick Henry's time in the second half.
If the Steelers do manage to win this game, what does that do to Lamar Jackson's playoff legacy?
If they win this game?
If the Steelers upset the Ravens.
Oh, it's going to get louder.
Yeah.
Yeah, the criticisms of Lamar are only going to get louder.
Like, it'd be one thing to lose to Josh Allen or lose to Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
But to lose to this Steelers team, even then, it would still, take a hit.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But I think it would be even worse if they lose to the Steelers.
I agree. Now, you and I both agree, too, that's just not going to happen. But, yeah, that would be horrendous. Yeah. Chris from the Snake Pit says, yeah, Zay Flowers has been ruled out for the game. Correct. Yep. So that's what we're talking about. How concerning is it? You want to make sure that you have Zay Flowers for, next week and moving forward. But this game, I think you're going to be fine.
Question number 3.
From the 636, what is a realistic expectation for the Cardinals' attendance next year?
I think I have long said, when we get criticisms about us not quote unquote holding the team accountable, I've always said that you, the listener, the Cardinals fan, the consumer, you have way more impact than we do. Me sitting here on the radio, or Jamie or Marsh or Carey sitting here for our 4 hours a day talking about the Cardinals has little to no impact on them.
Yeah.
You not spending your hard-earned money to go see their average to mediocre product, that has way more impact. So if you're not happy, if you're not satisfied with what they're putting on the field, don't go. You have that right as a consumer. And here's the other thing too. If you have some sort of so I think some fans have this crisis, this internal crisis of, I've got to go support my team.
Yeah.
They know. You're a Cardinal fan. And I'm always taking that Cardinal badge from you. You're still a Cardinals fan. You're still a diehard fan. You still watch the games on TV. But if you're not happy with the product, don't go. And they can say all they want to you. They could say, well, if you don't show up, we're not going to spend any free agents. I look at them and say, I don't need to see Dexter Fowler for 5 years anyways.
Yeah. Well, and people have been showing up and they haven't done anything anyway.
Correct.
So
Correct.
It's not going to change.
Well said, Marsh. So I don't know what the estimated attendance would be. Probably its lowest. I mean, they set Mark's records last year.
Yeah.
For low attendance. So I think that's only going to continue, which is why they're factoring that in.
Which is so sad.
They're factoring it in. They're just putting it in their little spreadsheets. We know we're not going to get the gate revenue, so we'll just trade Sonny Gray.
Well,
it's sad.
That's to me. It's like a cycle, right?
Right.
Well, why are you not going to get the projected gate revenue? It's because you are getting rid of these players, and
right.
You know, some of the ones that would actually make you a decent ball club.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Here's the good news though for everybody. Here's the good news for everyone. Good news for the Cardinals. Good news for Cardinals fans. Just win.
Yeah.
You win. It never matters how it looks. I don't care how it looks. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. If you win, people show up. There's never a I don't like that they don't bunt.
Yeah.
I don't like that they swing and miss too much. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. If they win, people will go.
People will come, Ray.
People will come, Ray. So that's
question number 4.
From the 636, the first 2025 MLB Power Rankings came out earlier this morning, and they put the Cardinals at 26th. Do we think that's too low or too high, or is that where they need to be? Thank you so much.
26 they are?
That's bad.
Oh, I feel like we're fair, Marsh, but that seems harsh.
Does it though? Who are they better than?
So there's only four teams better than the Cardinals is what they saying? Oh, man. That can't be the case. So you're basically saying what? Miami, Washington, Pittsburgh, Colorado. That's it? Those are the only teams the Cardinals are better than?
Here we go. Let's look at this. We have the White Sox.
4 teams worse than the Cardinals. Thanks, Droid.
The Marlins, the Rockies.
Hold on. Say that again. I'm sorry.
We'll start from the bottom.
Yeah.
White Sox, number 30.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the White Sox.
Marlins, number 29.
Okay.
Rockies, 28.
Okay.
Angels, 27.
Forgot about the Angels.
And your Cardinals are at 26th. Above them are the Nationals, the A's, and then the Blue Jays. Pirates are above the Cardinals. The Reds are above the Cardinals, and the Rays are at 20.
Yeah, I guess people are buying into the hype. Look, Pittsburgh's got better young pitching than you. Cincinnati's got better overall young talent than you. Plus, I added Terry Francona, so I could see that one. I don't know about Washington and Oakland, though.
A's are on the up and up. They have good young players.
I think that's too low still. I would be more in a prove-it mindset with the A's and some of these other teams. They're definitely in the 20s. 26 feels too low.
I mean, you could say the same thing about the Cardinals, though. They're a prove-it. Anthony, they were in last place 2 years ago.
Well, I'm not giving them a top 10 rating. I'm just saying that 26 feels low. Like, the A's have not been in a major league organization over the last 4 years. Like, we could talk about the Cardinals being terrible, but...
They're still better than you in the back half of last year.
Yeah, true. True.
The Nationals stole about 100 bases off of you in that series that you played against them.
Well, guess what? It's going to happen again because nobody... Am I the only one that thinks that this is a bad idea to roll with the 2 catchers that you have? I feel like when I bring that up, people look at me like, well, why? Teams are going to steal on you left and right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're fine with it then? That's what you're saying.
Am I fine with them being at the bottom of the barrel?
No, appropriate.
I think so.
Do you think it's appropriate?
Yeah, I think so. I'm hoping that...
It's shocking to me, but I guess if you break it down, it's not that unreasonable.
And maybe it's because The national media doesn't really know what the Cardinals have, and neither do they. That's why they're trying to figure it out this year.
Yeah, very true. All right, under the radar NFL storylines. We're going to get into one of the more intriguing matchups this wild card weekend. That's Packers and Eagles. What are the underrated or under the radar storylines for Packers Eagles? That's next on 101 ESPN. This weekend, we'll have all three of the Sunday wildcard games in the NFL. The Bills and Broncos pregame starting at 11:30, kickoff at noon. The Buccaneers and Commanders will kick off at 7, and the game we're about to discuss, the Eagles and Packers, will kick off at 3:30. Again, right here on 101 ESPN. Really intriguing matchup. The storylines are all there. The narratives, the big storylines are there. Jordan Love, you have I think like a neck or shoulder injury that wound up impacting his hand. So that's certainly something to follow. Jalen Hurts is expected to play, but as we know, he's been in concussion protocol the last couple of weeks. Whether or not the Eagles' passing game is going to be there, those are all like the bigger storylines. But what are the under the radar storylines? To me, it's whether or not Green Bay can make Philadelphia one-dimensional. Because if they can make Philadelphia one-dimensional, they have every opportunity to pull off the upset. I'm not predicting it. The Eagles are going to win this game, full stop. I don't see anybody going into Philadelphia and beating that team in January. I just don't. But we saw Green Bay last year, this plucky-ass Green Bay team, go into Dallas and pull off the biggest upset of this weekend, wild card weekend. And we can talk about the Cowboys' lack of playoff success and all that. Dallas was having an excellent season last year, and Green Bay took them to the woodshed. I don't see that happening this year. But if they can slow down Saquon Barkley, they, of course, have a chance. The other under-the-radar storyline here is whether or not Matt LaFleur will allow Josh Jacobs to be the focal point of the offense.
Yeah.
Because he loves to throw. And Jordan Love, you take the good with the bad. Jordan Love's a power hitter.
Yeah.
If he gets 5 ABs, he may hit you a massive home run.
And that's why Green Bay could win that game.
He also may strike out. Like, you need to have the balance between the two. His vertical shots coupled with Josh Jacobs' balance. Will LaFleur stay balanced throughout this game? Vic Fangio's defense has been disgusting in the second half. Disgustingly good. Mm-hmm. They've been phenomenal. The one game against Washington, I mean, they got, they forced 5 turnovers. It was a freak game that they lost. Mm-hmm. And that was the one, I believe, that Jalen Hurts got hurt in the first or second quarter.
Yeah.
And then Kenny Pickett had to step in. So that you have to factor that in too. But this Philadelphia defense is nasty. Mm-hmm. And Jordan Love is more than capable of throwing 3 touchdowns just as he is 3 interceptions. So will there be balance to Green Bay's offense? I think this really comes down to the 2 running backs and how the opposing team figures out how to slow down that run and make their opponent one-dimensional.
So I wanted to ask you, because you have a question about if Green Bay will stay balanced. Mm-hmm. Could we have the same questions about Philly, too? Because there have been times throughout the year where they don't go to the run.
It's a really good point.
They like to throw the ball. If you have A.J. Brown complaining that he's not getting enough, targets.
Yeah.
Could they...
Will they ditch the run and go with the pass?
Yeah, that's...
Sure.
Could you say that there is concern on that side of the field as well?
Kellen Moore, there have been games in the past with Kellen Moore where he gets... You ever play... You remember playing Tecmo Bowl or Super Tecmo Bowl back in the day? Now, that's out of your...
It's a little out of my age range.
They used to give you... I think for Super Tecmo Bowl, I think it was four runs and 4 pass plays, right? And
sounds boring.
Okay. It's all we had, all right? 4 runs, 4 pass plays. And if you and I were playing against each other in Super Tecmo Bowl, if I chose your play, then it's an all-out blitz. There's really nothing you can do about it, right? Kellen Moore has that ability as a play caller at times where he just kind of calls plays, right? Like, I'll get my plays where I like in this situation, and he kind of loses the feel for the game. I think that's what happened with Dallas. I think that's what happened with the Chargers. This is a big moment for him. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's an element here where Kellen Moore, to your point, may forget about the game as a whole and just starts to call plays. And this is where Nick Sirianni needs to step in and be a head coach.
Yeah.
We have seen head coaches before that they don't have that grasp of winning the game. What will it take in all 3 phases to win this game? Mm-hmm. Because that's when you got to get in the headset. Hey, run the damn ball in this spot.
Right. I don't care what is it, HB dive or whatever. Whatever.
This is what made guys like Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick some of the best in those moments. You'll hear, if you watch any, and Marsh, I know you consume these all the time, whether you're watching like a 30 for 30 or any sort of behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
You'll hear Bill Belichick or Bill Parcells hey, mix in a run. Hey, Josh, mix in a run. Because even when you have an opponent, just that slight element of unpredictability, can be the difference between you scoring in a pivotal moment late in a game and not. And I don't think Kellen Moore has that, and I don't trust Nick Sirianni. I think they'll be fine here, but I don't think the Eagles win a Super Bowl.
I don't understand why teams who have dynamic running backs, like both these teams do, why running isn't your first priority, and then throw in a play action.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you score those big-time touchdowns. Because you, as a defender, am so concerned with either Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley that, they start throwing more guys in the box, and then all of a sudden, he doesn't have the ball.
Right.
And it's behind you now, and the other team just scored 6.
Sure.
Or they just got a huge chunk of yardage. I don't understand that.
So one of the keys to play action is your offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So when an offensive line is really humming, they're going downhill. As an offensive lineman, your helmet is down when you're run blocking. When you're pass blocking, your head is up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hats down, hats up. And when you're running the ball and you're a linebacker, you're a linebacker and the other team is running the ball consistently, you start to cheat because you see the hat down and then you come up as a backer. So when that hat's down, because the offensive line is firing off the ball, you're trying to get to your run fit.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when play action is most effective, because then, like you're saying, you're tackling the running back and you've got all this space behind you now.
Yeah.
That intermediate zone in the passing game becomes wide open, and you could start really killing teams that way. You have to run the ball effectively because you have to force those linebackers and those safeties to start to cheat.
Well, there's some teams like they'll run play action at a time where I'm like, you didn't do anything to set this up.
You didn't earn it.
Like, you didn't do this at all. Like, I'll bring up the Vikings for instance. They'll do play action. I'm like, why are you doing play action right here when you haven't ran the ball in like 3 different plays?
They're not scared of that. Yep.
Like, that doesn't make to me it makes no sense.
Right.
So these two teams, I think the ability to run the ball, but the ability to go into play action and make the other team think that the ball is being ran by one of these two dynamic running backs, I think that will be the difference in this game. And play calling will be a huge factor. And I wonder what Kellen Moore does, because like you said, he's back in this situation. They're not playing the Dallas Cowboys again.
No.
But they are playing Kellen Moore again.
Yep.
And I wonder what Green Bay's defense can do against this Kellen Moore offense.
And Kellen Moore at one point was like the talk of the head coaching circles. Yeah. And there's a reason why he's bounced around a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got all the weapons in the world. He's got A.J. Brown. He's got Devonta Smith. He's got, Jalen Hurts back. He's got now Saquon Barkley. He's got all the toys. Mm-hmm. Can he put together a good game plan?
No, I'm confused. Kellen Moore was with
he was with
the Chargers
last
My
year.
bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
That's all right. Yeah, so last year they didn't face him, but I'm sure they faced him at some point. All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN 512. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We're going to play Hot Take or Hot Garbage next. So if you have a hot take or hot garbage for us, send it in. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Hot Take, Hot Garbage next. Hot take. Hot take or hot garbage? It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. If you have a hot take or hot garbage you want to send in, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Marsh, what do we got for hot take or hot garbage?
I want to start off with the 918. We were talking about play calls, and you mentioned Tecmo Bowl with like 4 different plays. The 918 says Marsh about to call out 4 verts, LMAO. So I remember playing Madden with my buddy, and every single time he would play with the Indianapolis Colts, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, just all out, 4 guys, run down the field. Mm-hmm. I would put a guy, and I would specifically take my player and put him down the field where Marvin Harrison was going to be.
Sure.
And I could never stop it.
Yeah.
I never could. It was an automatic touchdown every first play.
Sure.
Every single time. It was like a cheat code.
We used to do that with Vic. So when PS2 first came out, and all those Maddens for PS2 came out, Vic was just unstoppable. Like you couldn't play with Vic. But my buddies used to let me, because I was obviously a Falcon fan. One buddy, Doug, the best man at my wedding. One time got so frustrated because I would just wait. I would just run around with Vic and then wait till my receivers came back and then just throw it. He slammed down his remote one time and said, Do you ever hit your receivers in stride? He was so pissed at me. I don't think we've played since. Yep. Stop talking for what? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but there's always that cheat code. Bo Jackson used to be the cheat code in the first Tecmo Bowl.
Yeah, that's what the 314 just said. Tecmo Bowl with Bo Jackson, unstoppable.
Yeah. Yep.
From the 314, hot
so wait,
take.
you never played Tecmo Bowl or Super Tecmo Bowl?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so. Maybe when I was younger and I just don't remember on what was it even on? The Nintendo?
Yep. The original
okay, maybe
Nintendo.
Maybe I did, but I can't really remember.
Sure.
So
it's one of those things that if you didn't grow up with it, going back to it now, you probably you won't get it,
I grew up with the Nintendo 64.
Okay.
So my favorite games were Wayne Gretzky, 3D Hockey, 98, GoldenEye, 007, Star Fox, Mario Tennis.
Sure.
Stuff like that. Major League Baseball, 99. That was a fun game. But no, I don't believe I played any NFL games up until I ended up getting a PlayStation.
And did the Madden.
And did Madden.
My favorite hockey game was NHL 94.
94.
I don't know why. I don't know why that version was the best for me, but yeah, that was Nintendo.
I did enjoy NHL 99, and there's the announce. I loved it because of the announcer. He'd be like, northbound on a southbound freeway. Look out! After a big hit, it was awesome. All right. Anyways, from the 314, hot take or hot garbage, the Cardinals will not win a World Series in the next 10 years. With all the spending of these billionaire owners, teams like the Cardinals can't compete. Salaries are too out of control, and the DeWitts won't spend.
If you said in the next 5 years, I would say hot take. The fact that you went 10 years on this, I do wonder if there's the bill that comes due. When does the bill come due on the Dodgers? Gator's saying it was Sega. It was Sega. That was
Sega.
Thanks, Gator. So Sega for NHL 94. Thanks. It probably still is a hot take.
Well, the bill comes due in 15 years, right?
Because all the deferred money. Right.
But who's to say they just won't keep doing that? They'll just keep doing it because they can.
Yeah. All right. I got to go hot take because Major League Baseball is not. They're not going to do anything.
No.
The only thing that's going to help Major League Baseball. Let's not just even make this a Cardinals conversation. Let's make this a Major League Baseball conversation. The thing that would make Major League Baseball more interesting, in my opinion, and maybe others have this, and maybe people just vehemently disagree with me, but Major League Baseball would be significantly more interesting if there was a salary cap and a salary floor. force dead ass teams and owners that don't care about their fan base and their organization to have to spend, and cap the teams like the Dodgers and the Phillies, or back in the day the Yankees and Red Sox, so that the talent is more evenly spread out. We've seen this in the NFL. You know, some say it's watered down. I know, even as a Falcon fan, my stupid Falcons have a chance to win the division each year.
Yeah.
They probably won't, but I know next year I'll be like, Michael Penix, make some move. Like,
yeah,
I feel good, right?
Well, yeah,
in Major League Baseball, you can't. You don't.
You should have, like, now there's a few teams in every league that heading into the year, my team's probably not going to be a playoff team.
Right.
But there is still hope because it is a new year, and you're like, okay, maybe this guy.
Think of the Jets.
Yeah, like Aaron Rodgers.
When they got Aaron Rodgers, Jets fans were excited. The Jets.
Yeah.
They haven't won since Joe Willie did his thing in Super Bowl III.
And honestly, they got worse with Aaron Rodgers.
Granted, they did.
Yeah.
Turns out they're still the Jets. But even Jets fans were excited, right, Marsh?
Yeah.
If you're a Cardinals fan, you're a Pirates fan, you're a Rockies fan, you're DOA, man. I don't have to watch next year. How is that good for the sport? So I think best thing for Major League Baseball, not just Cardinals. Get a cap, get a floor.
The Water Boy, hot take or hot fart. That must be a different segment. But an NFL team will win their first Super Bowl ever this season.
Hot garbage. Chiefs are going to win again, but they'll beat the Lions, and the Lions will have a chance to get their first Super Bowl victory in their first ever Super Bowl appearance.
So who do we have in the playoffs right now that have not won a Super Bowl? We have the Lions, the Vikings. Is that it?
Let's see here. Eagles have won. Packers have won.
Bucks.
Rams have won. Bucks have won. Commanders have, technically.
Washington has won.
Yeah.
So that's the NFC. Broncos
Chiefs,
have won.
yes. Broncos, yes. Bills, yes. No, the Bills. So Lions, Vikings, Bills. The Ravens have won.
Chargers
have not. No.
Texans
have not.
So we got a few teams. What, five? Five teams? 5 out of possible 14.
How many Super Bowl appearances for the Chargers?
I don't think they made it to any when Phillip Rivers was there.
Nope. The last time I remember was 94 when they got the wheels beat off them by the Niners. Let's see.
They've hosted a few Super Bowls.
That they have. Of course, that place is torn down now.
Qualcomm?
Yep. Chargers left, and they're like, we're out. So they lost to the 49ers 49-26 in the 95 Super Bowls, 94 season. That's it. They're 0-1. Wow. Okay. So, no, because the Chiefs are going to win again. But who knows? Get a Lions and Bills Super Bowl, then.
That was a fun game. That was a fun regular season game.
Yep. Yeah, that was good.
I hope the Lions don't make it, though.
Okay.
I'm tired of them.
You're tired of them already?
It's only been, 2 years? I'm done with them. From the 314. Hot take or hot garbage? No, seriously, though. What is that team going to be next year when both of their coordinators are gone?
I don't know.
People say Dan Campbell's a glorified cheerleader.
No, he's not.
I don't think so either, but it is funny. I've never said that, but I've seen people on the internet say it, and I do find it funny. He's a good leader of men.
I can't do that.
But seriously, who would they bring in?
Well, that's part of the challenge,
the
right?
engine going.
That's part of the challenge.
So I think this is a huge year for them.
People want to knock the Patriots, and people want to knock some of these other teams that have won and consistently. Your coordinators get plucked. Next thing you know, you got Romeo Crennel being the head coach someplace else, or Charlie Weiss, or Josh McDaniels. These guys get replaced.
All right, last one here from the 314. Hot take or hot garbage? College football should get rid of conferences and do it the Irish way.
Hot take. Love it. I said this yesterday. It's not going to be perfect, Marsh. You can't. You got too many teams. The NIL money is different. Like Ole Miss can spend a godly amount of money in NIL. My Central Michigan Chippewas cannot.
Right.
You know? So you're not going to have it be perfect. But you got to do something about, like Boise, nice story, right? Next year, if they don't have a really good schedule, but you're undefeated again, you really want them hosting a playoff game again?
No.
No. So
James Franklin.
Actually, I'm sorry, they didn't host a playoff game. They got the bye.
Right.
But you get my point. Arizona State got a bye.
Though. They could host a playoff game.
They could,
like a team like that.
Yeah, you gotta do something to create some sort of balance with the schedules for the regular season, because I do think the regular season should matter.
James Franklin says that every team should be in a conference. Said it right in front of.
Well, James Franklin is a fool, and he's going home after tonight.
Really?
No, he's not a fool. He's a good coach.
But is he going home tonight?
I don't know.
Well, they'll have to go home.
They'll have to go home
regardless.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, unless he wants to stay in Florida.
Very true. All right, we've got biggest question of the day next on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. We'll have Blues pregame for you starting here in less than a half hour as the Blues take on the Anaheim Ducks tonight. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. If you missed anything from today's show, including our interview with Chris Kerber, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 101 ESPN mobile app. Just head to that podcast page and you'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by the Schaefer Door Company. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
All right, time for the biggest question of the day here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. What do we got today, Marsh?
All right, I want to go back to a segment that we actually didn't end up talking about, the Cardinals. We talked about them a lot today, but the question was, earlier in the show, has ownership diminished the Cardinals brand within the last few years? Anthony, the team, they haven't been competitive in the past few years. They missed the playoffs. They admitted that their minor league system is vastly behind everybody else, and so they're trying to fix that. Fans, they stopped showing up. That's not a good look. And publicly have been talking about cutting payroll. To me, this is not the Cardinals that I grew up loving and watching. Things have changed. Do you think that the brand itself has diminished from a national perspective?
So even though you just spent, a minute or so breaking that all down, I feel like you're very passionate about this and about this take. So I'm actually going to throw that right back at you. Do you feel as though, from a national standpoint, the Cardinals brand has taken a massive hit?
I do. I really do. The fact that they are 26th heading into Major League Baseball's 2025 season on their power rankings on the official website of the league, to me, it says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot. That is not Cardinals baseball. Cardinals baseball growing up was, using their minor league system to produce really good talent and to keep that going, just churning out that talent. And those players ended up being great players. St. Louis Stars, Anthony. And some ended up being Hall of Famers. To me, things have changed. It's a completely different franchise now. It doesn't mean they can't get back to what they were, but right now I think they took a massive hit. And I don't think people care about the Cardinals, like outside of Cardinal Nation. Like they're not a team that people talk about. They're not the Houston Astros. They're not the Phillies, and they're not some of these teams that have taken dips and then got back up, and they're people talk about them.
Right.
They're not that team anymore.
I agree. Yeah, I'm with you on this. I do think from a national standpoint, yes, they have hurt the brand. I don't think it's going to be as quick nationally as it has been locally. I mean, even after they, when they fell to last place, the national viewpoint was like, wow, what happened here? When we could see more clearly what was going on, because obviously we're closer to it. So I don't think that there's going to suddenly be this groundswell nationally of saying the Cardinals have lost their way, right? But I do think when you're talking about the Royals being a more exciting organization right now, what other teams have we mentioned? Even the Reds. The Reds have barely tried.
The Pirates. People want to watch the Pirates. And is it because Paul Skeens? Yes. But still.
Yeah.
The only reason why the Cardinals are relevant right now is because of Nolan Arenado and the fact that they're going to trade him away and or keep him. Yeah. That's the only reason why anyone's talking about them.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, very true. So how do you get back there?
Win.
Yep, that's the thing.
Win.
I mean, when you have a brand, it's because you're winning. And it's recognizable. Everybody knows. Everybody knows what you were getting with the Cardinals. Albert.
You're getting consistency.
Yeah, you're getting consistent, but you get Albert, Tony. You had recognizable faces. Yachty. You had recognizable Ueno, Matt Holliday. I think they've got some good young talent. I think Mason Wynn could be a face of the franchise type of player. And maybe even from the standpoint of like when Francisco Lindor was the face of the franchise for Cleveland.
Yeah.
You know, that guy, the young, exciting player on a team that doesn't spend a whole bunch, but they often have good young talent.
Who was their manager, though?
Terry Francona for a long time. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I don't think there's any question that the brand has been hurt.
Yeah.
I also think it's necessary that they reset.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, there's kind of, you know what I mean? There's that yin and the yang to this conversation.
Right.
It's, man, this is falling apart. What? Really? We're here? But you have to reset.
But you know,
what you've been doing doesn't work.
You have to reset, but you got to do it right.
Right.
That's the big question. Can they do it right? And there's a lot of Cardinal fans out there that might think that they can't, because they haven't shown that they can do whatever they were doing right to begin with that led them to this spot.
That's fair. And I think I would be more pessimistic if Mo weren't gone in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And Mo, look, I feel like I'm fair with Mo.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good.
For sure.
The back half of his time here with Mo, it has not been pretty.
Mm-mm.
Like he has not, his methods have not stood withstood the test of time. It's been bad.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gone in a year. And you have new people, and whether or not Bloom and his guys can come in and refresh this thing, we'll have to wait and see. And I know people don't like to hear the kind of the patient thing, but we do got to give him a shot. We got to give him a shot to redo this thing. But if Mo were here beyond this year and is like, you know what, I'm refreshed and energized, and we're going to take this new approach, then I'd be more pessimistic, because he's had a lot of time. There's been attempts at transitioning, and they just haven't worked.
What about from the ownership side of things? Because Mo will eventually move on. Ownership will still be here. Who's to say that Chaim Bloom doesn't still have those same restrictions? Or even worse now, that all this payroll nonsense.
You brought up the Phillies. And when you brought up the Phillies, you said a team like the Phillies had their downturn before going up again.
Yeah.
If we use them as an example, so Ryan Howard suffers the Achilles injury, and that was kind of the beginning of the end of that era of the Phillies. And they went away for a while.
How'd they get back?
They spent.
And who'd they start with?
They started with, what's his face, the long hair?
Bryce Harper.
Jason Worth is who I was thinking of. Didn't they sign Worth to that massive contract before getting Bryce Harper?
I thought Jason Worth... Maybe I'm wrong.
I
thought he went
maybe
Phillies Nationals.
You're right.
He was with the Nationals when the Cardinals took them on in the playoffs back in 2012?
I had it flipped. So Jason Worth was Phillies 2007 to 10. National signed him, the big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. They restarted with Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
So they signed him to the massive contract, and they just kept adding and adding and adding. We already know the Cardinals aren't going to go that route.
No.
So when you pose the question of, some Cardinals fans feel as though like, well, ownership has to change too. Maybe, but maybe not necessarily. Well, if they were going the route of the Phillies, then I would say, you got to get new owners, because they're not gonna spend the way the Phillies did. The Phillies are like, screw the farm system. We have to go about this from the standpoint of bringing in the big free agents. We know the Cardinals aren't going to do that. I would rather go with somebody like Bloom, who's done it before in Tampa, and really in Boston too. Like that Boston farm system ain't bad.
But is that the Cardinals brand? Are the Cardinals the Tampa Bay Rays? Is that what you want them to be? The National League Tampa Bay Rays? To me, that's not the Cardinals.
I don't want them to be the Tampa Bay Rays that bring up young players, win a little bit, and then as soon as those players it's time to pay them, they don't. They trade them. I don't want that. But do I want them to be a smarter organization, a savvy organization? Yeah. The Cardinals, the Brewers have kicked their ass with less money. The Brewers have taken the Cardinals behind, through, and on top of the woodshed with less money. Why? Their front office is savvier. They know how to recognize talents. Significantly more than the Cardinals front office. So do I want the Cardinals to be a smart, savvy organization that drafts well and knows how to pick the pocket of other teams? Yeah. Because that at one point was the Cardinals too. Let's not forget that Mo, I mean, there was some Red Sox GMs that flat out stopped picking up the phone as soon as Mo called because they knew they were going to get their pocket picked. Mo did have that ability at one point in his career. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Do I want that version? Yeah. Do I want a smart, savvy organization that knows what it's doing from the draft standpoint? Yes. Can we open up the pocketbook just a little bit to get some international free agents too?
That's a huge thing.
Like, come on.
That's a huge thing.
You want to spend a little bit more. When have the Cardinals been outstanding from an international market standpoint? That frustrates me. That frustrates me more, Marsh, than the lack of free agent deals that we have seen. Juan Soto wasn't drafted by the Nationals. He was an international free agent. The Braves have killed the international free agent market. That bothers me more as a Cardinals fan than some of the inactivity when it comes to the winter meetings and things like that.
Yeah, bottom line, it's identifying talent, and then making sure that talent has the right tools and is put in place to succeed.
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals have found talent over the years. I just don't know if they've put all the pieces together to make a great ball club.
Right. Well, clearly they haven't. That's why they're here now. Real quick, Jason says that's where we're headed. Front office moves show we're moving down the road of Tampa Bay and Cleveland. The owners aren't paying players anymore. Book it. I hope not. I choose to have a little bit more optimistic viewpoint than the one that Jason lays out, but I don't think Jason's crazy. I understand why Jason has that viewpoint. I think the Cardinals are going to develop these guys. I think they're going to keep them. I think, I don't think we're going to see Mason Wynn traded when it's time to pay him.
That would be tough.
Yeah.
That would be tough.
Yeah. Tanisha says, haven't seen Ranthony in a while. Was that technically Ranthony?
I thought I was more juiced up than you were, but
we need an alter. Tanisha needs to come up with maybe an alternate version for Marsh here too. All right.
I don't know if there is. I think this is just me.
That just might be Marsh.
I did start the show off saying that I was okay.
You seem more like 73%
I've gotten a little bit
now.
better. Yeah, I'm at like 70, 75,
Good.
80.
It's good to see that. All right,
it's the Vicks Vapor Rub.
There you go. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We have Bet the Board, 3 stars of the day, and criticisms and compliments next. If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast, available at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN Dobbs and Tire Auto Center's mobile app. Every podcast brought to you by Schaefer Door Company. All right, time to bet the board. I don't think we have any standings, right, Marsh?
Yeah, I'm a little behind on that, so I'll have to go back and get everything reworked so we can be up to date heading into tomorrow's show. But we do have a few picks from Carey and Jamie.
Yes, we do. I know that I was taken behind the woodshed by the Illini last night. I know I lost. I think you won because I think Bradford took the under, I believe, in that game. Carey Davis, Steph Curry, over 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. That's who Carey took.
Jamie's going with the Ottawa Senators tonight.
Ottawa Senators for the one and only Jamie Rivers. All right. Marsh, how about you?
I believe you're up next, though, because, you've been doing pretty well this month.
Yeah. I've struggled of late. But, so I do think that Notre Dame wins the game tonight, but I'm actually going to take Penn State in the first half. The first half spread is Penn State plus a half point. So I'm going to take Penn State plus the half point against Notre Dame. They have started games incredibly fast this year, and they have started games in the playoffs incredibly fast. If I think this game's going to be close, maybe it's a tie at halftime, and I cash that in. That's where I'm going.
So I'm going to take the under tonight, minus 115 in the Notre Dame Penn State game. It's 45.5. What do you think about that?
I love it. Yep.
Yeah.
Good call.
So
I think it's gonna be real close.
All right, let's get to our criticisms and or compliments from today's show. We'll start off with Brandon. I believe this is in the Snake Pit earlier today. Will Anthony wear a tank top to host the show this summer? His biceps/shoulders are looking huge.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. I don't think anybody wants to see that, but I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm gonna walk out of these studios feeling extra good because of what they just said there in the Snake Pit. Thank you.
From the 719.
Very kind of you.
Very kind. Very kind. Yeah, your shoulder, biceps.
No, I appreciate that.
Great, and that nice quarter zip. That looks like a new quarter zip.
I actually dusted this one off.
Did you?
I forgot I had it.
That looks nice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, look, Penn State colors.
Penn State blues, yep.
It's more of like, got the white, the blue, and then the silver.
Right.
That's
I'm wearing Penn State. I'm a Nittany Lion today.
From
in the first half.
From 719, compliment. Even when down a man or two, the fast lane is still the most enjoyable listen on the radio.
Oh, well, thank you. We certainly don't want to be down anybody, but it's that time of year. Carey with some much-deserved some time off. But I think Monday we're actually going to have a full show, no? Because the Blues, they're not be traveling in a while.
I think we might. That might be the first. We almost had a full show yesterday until my health decided to take a pause.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, we look forward to having full shows for a while.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to our 3 stars of the day. I'm going to give our 3rd star to Bradford since I wasn't here yesterday. Shout out to him for filling in. So
good call.
Good job by Bradford.
Bradford always does a great job, man. I'll tell you what. One thing that Bradford does is he takes the job seriously, and we appreciate that.
2nd star of the day goes to Tecmo Bowl.
Yes, Tecmo Bowl.
Yes.
You got to play that, Marsh. You got to get on.
Well, I don't know where I'll be able to find a
Well, we'll get you there. We'll get you there. No, that's Nintendo.
Oh, I thought it was Sega.
Nintendo.
You're talking about 94.
NHL 94 was Sega.
That's right. All right, well, I know I have like 2 64s. I don't know if Tecmo Bowl is on that, but
I don't know.
1st star of the day goes out to Jamie's reading glasses.
Yeah, they deserve that. You know, Jamie, when he broke those, he was taking a shot, I think, at me. So that was kind of nice that he broke his glasses.
Yeah, a little karma.
Yeah, a little karma, exactly. Yeah. Hey, we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for listening throughout the show today or watching. By the way, Paul says, didn't mean to poo on your keys, your extra keys. Something to check out in the podcast there. But we appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. For Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh and our guy, Kerry Davis, I'm Anthony Stalter. Pre-game Blues and Ducks right now. See ya.